in the house. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are kicking it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it, let's go. Yeah, let's go, let's get it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, yeah, come on, let's do it. Nothing better than kicking it with Auntie Leah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Auntie Leah is in the house. Yeah, 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 yeah. We are kicking it with Auntie Leah. Yeah, let's get it, let's do it. Come on in. Come on in now. So Auntie Leah can do a thing. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Salute, salute, salute. Welcome back to Kicking It with Auntie Leah in the Truth Gang. Thank you so much for coming back. Good evening, Patricia. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, we're just going to wait on some more of the family to come in. If I can please get you to like the live and share the live, that would be great. I'm getting ready to share the live right now.
Mama cried when the sirens came. Another young soul gone, another family change. We march for the truth, but the pain remains. Different faces, same story, just a different
share the live.
We grew up here and freedom reigns, but freedom feels different when you're fighting for everything. Working 2 jobs, still can't pay the bills, while the wealthy get richer from the top of the hill. Turn on the news and what do we
everybody
see?
In the back, thank you so much for returning to the channel.
Unity. They tell us be patient, wait our turn. But how many generations
hit the like button and share the live?
Oh, we've been knocked down, pushed aside, told to be silent when our people cry. But there's a fire that they can't control. A strength is buried deep within our soul. My people, hold your head up high. Don't let this world convince you not to try. Struggle through the pain. We'll keep standing in the pouring rain. Hey, they can build walls, they can close doors, but they can't stop what we're fighting for. We are the voice, we are the light. And together we'll keep up this fight. Children growing up without a chance, caught in a system that won't advance. Schools underfunded, dreams put on hold, while promises fade and stories grow old. Mothers praying every night that the babies make it home alright. Fathers working till their hands are worn, trying to get their families a better morn. Still we rise when they expect us to fall. Still we answer when
gonna keep calling Nolan Wells' name.
Still we
with no fear
when they give us hate. Still we believe it's not too late. They tell us history's in the past, but the scars of yesterday still last. Red lines drawn through neighborhoods, broken promises dressed up as good. We watch dreams get pushed aside, watch too many others cry, watch too many candles burn, while the world keeps taking turns. Yet our ancestors paved the way through darker nights and harder days. They carry faith when hope was thin, and that's the reason we're still here. So teach the children who they are, not what the doubters say they are. Kings and queens with purpose inside, born with dignity, born with pride. I see the pain, I see the tears. Oh, I see the battles fought for years.
Salute to everyone
I see the
here.
names we can't forget. Oh, the family still demanding respect. I see the voices crying out, asking what justice is about. But I also see strength, I also see grace.
Sister, one in the building, please hit the like button as you come in and share the live.
And no matter what they say, no matter what they do, we are somebody. Our lives matter.
Again, thank you so much for returning to the channel. We really appreciate you being here. If I can please get everybody to please hit the like button and share the live. We are waiting on the video to start with Nancy Grace, who has a bombshell announcement. Now, guys, I don't know. I'm not feeling too good about this because what I see before my eyes is a staged play, and it involves many players. I see an attempt to deceive us and stir the narrative right before our faces. I see the same thing that they did to Kendrick Johnson in 2013, except in a larger way, happening right before our eyes. I've seen people who have came out. Hold on a second. Let me turn this music down. Just give me a moment. Thank you for your patience. Please bear with me. For some reason, my system has moved everything around. So, okay. I'm seeing the media involved. I'm seeing attorneys colluding. I'm seeing everybody that's just trying to disturb the narrative, allegedly, when it comes to Nolan Wells. I'm not shocked, but it's kind of unbelievable to me, if that makes sense. Now, the video that we're going to start out watching first is Nancy Grace. I'm kind of nervous about what she's going to say because of the teaser interview, the commercial she put out. You see, what they want us to do is try to make us to forget what we heard on that CETO call. And that's not easy because I heard what I heard. And see, Nancy, you heard it too. So I don't know what angle that you're going to try to bring tonight, but I am going to tell you, Truth Gang, keep your ass open. Pay attention. You got Chris Cuomo, on an interview with the attorney of Bart Edmondson, leaking hints about his so-called secret source that's in close cahoots with the investigation. People in the investigation, and they're telling him that Nolan Wells' autopsy shows body cavities were filled with water, and that aligns with drowning. Now, he didn't say the lungs, he said body cavities. He went on to say that same source who he's protecting, and we're going to look at that clip, said that there was high levels of alcohol in Nolan Wells' blood. You see what I'm going here? You got the so-called friends of Nolan Wells on the panel again with Officer Brandon Tatum, doing a whole campaign, an image campaign, a gaslighting campaign, in my opinion, to try to convince the world that they knew nothing and they did nothing. Now, let's be clear. I don't know if they did anything or not. But what I did hear was the CETO call. And what I did observe was discrepancies, inconsistencies, and lies that came out of Warren's mouth. And matching stories that don't match. So I'm not going to let this go. And then they're using scare tactics. Oh, you're going to get a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. When I tell you that I absolutely cannot walk in fear, that is the biggest fight right now that we should be having right now, faith versus fear. Because that very thing that we fear is what will devour us. It is absolutely important that we do not enter into fear under no circumstances. I gotta mute that while that's doing that. So we're getting ready to start because they always hit me with a copyright. They always demonetizing my videos, my lives. They don't want us talking about this kid. Why? What are you allegedly hiding and covering up? I don't get it. Guys, please drop justice for Nolan Wells in the comments. We will keep fighting. And justice for Carmelo Anthony, too, while you're at it. Because we're going to still fight for that kid as well. We can't back down. I'm exhausted. Like I said, I thank you for being here. And we may have a slew of trolls. I'm going to ask you to just hang in there with me.
Bombshell tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. A mystery altercation emerges. And not with the guys that took him to the island on the boat. Does this change things? We cannot ignore it. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
If people are sending in videos, they should be using those videos to conduct further investigation.
There is a group of people fighting at 5 p.m. Who are they? Where was he? He wasn't floating in the water. He wasn't on the shore. Tonight, evidence of a so-called mystery altercation is emerging. Straight out to Crime Stories investigative reporter Dave Mack. Dave, what can you tell me first about this so-called mystery altercation? And this is not with the men that went to Horn Island on the boat. You know what? Let me just be clear. Crime Stories is not a symposium, a gathering place for a witch hunt. We want the truth about what happened to Nolan Wells. We are here to convict no one yet. And if evidence of a mystery altercation with other young men arises, we are pursuing it. Dave Mack, what do we know about some mystery altercation? We think after the Triton left Horn Island.
Nancy, this is a mystery altercation that is being described through social media as something that took place around 5 p.m. that day. This is 30 minutes after the Triton already left. And in this particular account, a Bertram boat was seen leaving shortly afterward at a high rate of speed. Now, this social media conversation claims that a person, one of the passengers, pretty certain Nolan Wells, was part of a group that was, quote, almost fighting around 5 p.m.
Whoa, wait. Hold on, Nellie. Did you say 5 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. The reason I jumped in, Dave Mack, is because 5 p.m., if Nolan was seen in an altercation at 5 p.m. on Horn Island, that's after the Triton, had already left. Let's see the boat, control room. We're talking about the boat leaving Horn Island. That boat. Had that boat already left when this altercation occurred? Dave Mack, that's a yes, no.
Yes.
Listen.
But the person said in the DM to another kid that is associated, not any of the kids that I interviewed to talk to, but that could be associated to some degree, that knew Nolan, that this person wrote a message saying, me and my husband saw you arguing with Nolan, and to the effect of, you're going to spend the rest of your life in prison. Nolan and another person that he may have been in an argument with, to me, are people that need to be investigated.
Guys, let me first introduce Cheryl McCollum, Colgate's Investigative Research Institute founder. Let that sink in at coldcasecrimes.org. She's a star of a hit podcast that I have listened to on loop, by the way, Cheryl McCollum. And I don't like much of what you're saying, yet I keep listening. Zone 7, she's author of a brand new book, Swans Don't Swim in a Sewer, solving the cold case of the Flint River killer's daughter, and more. But for my purposes tonight, she's a forensics expert. Greg Morse, before I even get to the merits of this, where I meant to go with this is everyone has been focusing on the young men that were on the boat that took him to Horn Island. Then we get this audio that we're trying to corroborate, where seemingly in the background, you hear them talking about trying to revive Nolan Wells on the boat. Is that even real? We don't know yet. Or has it been doctored? Trying to find out. I've got experts telling me, renowned experts, by the way, it's real, and renowned experts saying it's not real. It's just like a trial, right? Where it's expert v. expert, who's telling the truth.
Sure.
I wanted to talk about this mystery altercation. If it happened at 5 p.m., that boat was already gone. Now, as much as some people want to hang the young guys on the boat, I want to make sure we hang the right person. If there is a mystery altercation after that boat lift, we need to be investigating that altercation.
Well, you're 100% right, because the 3 young men that are, at least the people are saying are involved in this, that went there with Nolan Wells, there's a specific timeline from what I read. They needed assistance on their boat. They left at 4:30. They had called
gave me
CTO.
a chill down my spine.
If
can't introduce something because people say, I don't care what people say on either side. No, they mean nothing to me.
Nancy, that's the problem when we have things like podcasts today and people who are not qualified to talk about serious things like this. They're not experts. They want to get likes. Law enforcement is going to keep information close to the best.
He saw the DMs. I don't have a reason to think he didn't see the DMs. Now, many people are arguing that he has taken a side. We have not taken a side. I'm on the side of finding out why everybody got back to the mainland except Nolan Wells.
Well,
and nobody saw anything. Teenagers. Nobody knows anything. It's just like Tupac Shakur got shot on the Strip.
Nancy,
Vegas, and we still don't know what happened. Nobody saw a thing. That's BS.
These are young men hanging out. It's not unusual. One may.
Nancy, I'm gonna have to stop you right at the Tupac Shakur card. How dare you try to pull on our heartstrings? And you know that death is very, very triggering to us. Y'all see the play? I see the play, guys, and I'm not liking it. But let's keep going. I see the play. What they're doing.
Stay behind to hang out with other people. None of that is unusual for teenagers partying and having a good time. So that fact alone doesn't mean anything. What?
Where's your cell phone? Where is your cell phone? And try not to lie. Where's your cell phone?
Okay. Right here.
Oh, really? Because here's mine. So you want to tell me Nolan Wells stayed behind and his cell phone went without him? I understand. Don't everybody start screaming that he didn't want to get it wet. Of course he didn't want to get it wet. But there's ways around that. You can go put it on shore in your shoe like everybody else does to hide it from people and then retrieve it when you go. But no, he let the boat leave with his phone. I agree with his mother on that. That is not Nolan Wells. He was never away from his phone.
So that doesn't mean anything in of itself with what's coming out about this. You know, you're talking about him staying behind. You're talking about there's evidence that he was there after 4:30 p.m. If he's there after 4:30 p.m., Nolan Wells on that island hanging out with other people, that's it. The fact that a cell phone is on a boat and he's not as a teenager doesn't really mean anything at all.
Okay, you know what? I asked you about a mystery altercation, and should we be looking in that direction right now? And you're like going on and on about the cell phone.
No, but
everybody
that's my point.
Cell phone, which is everyone knows. You never
Nancy,
leave
that's
without
my
your
point.
cell phone.
You have to look at what really happened. If there was this mystery altercation, then yes, the police need to be investigating that. They need to be looking into that.
Hi, guys. Nancy Grace here.
Okay, guys. For everyone who doesn't see the play, let me break it down to you. Nancy just introduced an alternative. Why? To make us question what we heard on the CTO call. Okay? You got to look deeper. You can't be surface level thinkers here. You have to be a critical thinker. By her saying, oh, well, there's another fight on the island. After last week, she was just saying, well, I hear what on the call. Nolan, is he dead? Check his chest. She just said that last week. And now she's coming back this week with the, well, if there was another altercation on the island, we need to be investigating that. And then she threw Tupac Shakur's name in there to distract. Okay, pay attention, because his trial is going on. They're playing on the black community right in front of our face. And I said what I said. Do not play with us when it comes to Tupac Shakur's name, because they could have and should have solved this case 30 years ago. 30 years ago. So don't play with us today about Tupac Shakur. Please and thank you. Not going to happen. And I'm going to calm down, but I don't like what's happening. And I'm going to bring it all together once we watch the rest of the clips that I have for you. It is a play on Broadway playing right before our faces. All right, back to her commercial.
Hashtag www.americanfinancing.net/Nancy. Average savings are based on borrowers who save over $199.99. And good luck. You know what? Let's hear Tatum again. And hey, take it for what it's worth. Try to get the truth out of what we're hearing. Okay? Listen.
Nolan and another person that he may have been in an argument with, to me, are people that need to be investigated.
With that, I agree with Tatum. As much as we disagree on practically everything else, if this happened, and forget about the girl, I'm talking about the altercation. Cheryl McCollum, come on. He dies. Nobody sees him. The others get back safely. Now we're hearing about an altercation afterwards. And I'm not ruling out that he was on that boat when they left. But now I'm hearing about an altercation. When you can't tell the truth of what's happening, look at who was angry. Look if there was an altercation. I don't know what happened, but when I hear altercation after the Triton left, I've got to go there.
You got to look at it. You absolutely cannot ignore it. But one thing we already know from the second autopsy, they would have mentioned if he had any type of injury to his knuckles, if he had been in a fight. We didn't hear anything about abrasions or bruising or any type of injury that would be indicative of somebody that is a college football player. Fighting somebody.
Okay, now I've just told everybody that you're a forensic expert. It's starting to taste like a dirt sandwich. Because, okay, I'm going to let you sit in the corner and think about what you just said. Joe Scott Morgan is joining me, professor of forensics, Jacksonville State University, author of Blood Beneath My Feet on Amazon, star of a hit series, Body Bags with Joseph Scott Morgan. He is a death investigator with over 10,000 death scenes under his belt, deaths of all genre. Joe Scott Morgan, let's refresh Cheryl McCollum's recollection. That's what you say in court when obviously the witness is gone off the rails. Your Honor, pause, Your Honor, objection. May I refresh the witness's recollection? In other words, get it together. Don't you remember what we just talked about before you got on the stand, and you give them a piece of paper and go, can we see that the drawings on the autopsy control room? Joe Scott, there's a big, thank you. There's a big honking mark, subcutaneous, deep reddening tissue on his occipital. If I hit somebody in the back of the head, it'd be right there. We don't know what that is.
No, we don't. But to Cheryl's point, she's accurate. And here's why. Because in forensics, it's not just about positive findings. It's also about negative findings, those things that we are absent. So in that report, as she had mentioned, there was no indication that there was any kind of contusions on the hand, the arm, no kind of defensive event like a parry with a forearm, scuffing of the knuckles, that sort of thing. This forensic pathologist that did the second assessment didn't see any evidence of that. And so that's the first place I'm going to go to, aside from not having the actual primary autopsy report that has not been released yet. But you've got an individual that has, in fact, been retained by the family that's making this assessment. And it's a pretty damn thorough assessment, as a matter of fact, based upon many of them that I've read over the years. You don't see any kind of insults to the arms, the hands, anything like this. The one thing about that thing in the back, this focal area that they're talking about is, and I come back to this all the time, Nancy, is that his body, Nolan's body, is in such a state of decomposition to this point that he cannot make a definitive assessment.
Chili, I'm going to address him because he keeps talking to me in my chat as if this is his channel. When if he disagrees with what I see and I stand on what I said, she introduced an alternative narrative for one purpose, and that purpose is to discredit the CETO call, because she previously believed what she heard. She had her audio engineer enhance the call, and she heard everything that we are hearing. And then next week or a few days later, there is another fight. We need to investigate that then. We should be focusing on that. Well, and it was after the CETO call. It is a clear distraction. Okay? And when I say that this isn't the channel for you, it's not. Because I'm not just going to agree with anybody and everybody when I know that there is a collective operation going on in an alleged cover-up. And for the person who said, do you think that teenagers can or whatever or hold this lie all at once? I encourage you to go look up the case of Kendrick Johnson that died on January 11, 2013 at Lowndes High School. 13 years later, no justice. They all covered it up. FBI, all of them. Okay, so this is not the channel for you. I'm just saying, politely. I'm not going to argue with you anymore. Just politely leave. Okay? And it's okay. We can agree to disagree. Let's keep going.
On that area, and he did a multi-layered dissection, which, by the way, according to him, had not been done by the state medical examiner's office in Mississippi. He just went about it a different way. And as a matter of fact, if you like that one, I got another one. The examination that this physician in DC did on Nolan's remains ranks right up there with the most thorough, hear me talking, the most thorough dissection that you can possibly do on human remains. It's the same one that we do on bodies that have died, individuals that have died that have been incarcerated, in custody deaths. You know what all that means: in the back of a cruiser, in a holding cell, in a prison. Those autopsies rank right up there with the most thorough that we can go. It's a very deep dive that they did on his body.
Joe Scott, you are stating that due to the level of decomposition in Nolan Wells's body, that you can't really figure out why his occipital bone area had deep reddening, and that was seen nowhere else in the body. That's because of decomposition. Isn't that true?
Well, it's true in the sense that that's what
Didn't you just say that?
I'm repeating what the physician said in his autopsy report. I didn't do the examination.
So then that would be a yes. So at that level of decomp, that you're claiming could obscure the nature of the deep reddening on his occipital area, but yet on the other side of your mouth, you're claiming that even with this intense decomposition, you didn't see evidence of any reddening on his knuckles or any indication of a fight. So you want it two ways. You want to say, decomp, can't tell what that was on the back of his head, but even though he's highly decomposed, I can tell you, he didn't have any reddening on his knuckles. Really?
No.
Because I see a problem with that.
Okay, you've skinned your knee before, right? Okay. If you have an abrasion, that's completely different than a contusion. That means you have scraping and the tearing away of the skin. That's something that's very obvious. And guess what? I've been in enough fist fights in my life that I know what's scraping. Right, I know, and you're misstating that because it's not a matter of reddening. When we look at hands, we also look at contact points where people are being abraded as a result of scuffing their hands. That's different than a color discoloration. We're talking about the top layer, the epidermis down to the dermis is being scraped away. He doesn't see any evidence of that in his
I'm not
autopsy
talking
report.
about a scrape. I'm talking about if he had, for instance, reddening from a welt, the beginnings of a bruise, with that level of decomp, you're telling me you could still make that out?
No, those two things cannot exist in the same universe. You have to have an abraded area, and there would be multiple of them on his hands if he is punching or trying to defend himself. And yes, we can make out bruises. Yeah, we can make out bruises.
You don't always have to have scrapes on your hand when you throw a punch. You don't always have to have cuts on your hand when you throw a punch. That's not true.
Well, that sounds mighty convenient if that's the road you want to go down, because I've seen them many times.
That's what I'm telling you. What you're saying is mighty darn convenient. That the reddening on the back of his head, can't really tell anything because he's so decomposed, but you can see his hands well enough to know he was not in a fist fight. Yeah,
right.
That's convenient, Joe Scott. Look, I'm not trying to convict anybody. I'm trying to find the truth. I'm trying to find out if this evidence of an altercation really happened. And to further muddy the waters, now we have more witnesses stating what they saw.
Another report came to me of someone saying that they saw Nolan with a girl, and they believe that they saw Nolan and this girl struggling in the water. Not necessarily drowning, but struggling. Like it was obvious enough that the person was concerned when they saw Nolan in the water.
Wait a minute.
And he was with this girl.
We have never heard that before. Do you see what they're doing? Do you guys see the play? They're introducing new unfound hearsay. Where's this witness? Where's the sworn statement? They are playing games with us. So now it's a girl in the water with Nolan struggling? Let's keep going.
You know, that's from Officer Tatum's show. Cheryl McCollum, it seems to me that that's not true. Because don't you think if a witness saw one or two people, quote, struggling in the water, I mean, I would try to help them.
It makes no sense.
And they did nothing?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. That wouldn't be their focal, that they would pay attention to those two people that are struggling to see, is one going under and not resurfacing? What can we do to help? The idea that they would watch that, see a struggle, and then what? Turn back and finish barbecuing? That doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Not at all. So this is a problem, Greg Morse. You're a veteran trial lawyer. We're getting so much information, and a lot of it is inconsistent. And that is why you have cross-examination. So you can test the evidence, test whether it's true under the fire of cross-exam. When you have conflicting stories like this, my instinct is to go with the one that makes the most sense. What do you make of these claims that Nolan was struggling in the water? I really believe if he had been, quote, struggling in the water, that either she or her friends would have come forward by now. I mean, what about these guys on the boat that had already left? Don't they want to save them? I mean, well, I'm just trying to find out what happened to Nolan. And if this is true, it may place him on the island after they left.
Well, that's it, and that's what the police are doing. Is they're going to run these leads down, and they're going to try to verify what's credible and what's not before they go to a grand jury. They're going to exclude information that they think is completely uncredible. However, all of this information, if people are arrested at some point in the future and charged with a crime for Nolan Wells' death, then all of these conflicting stories, all of these different timelines, they become a conflict in the evidence. And as you know, Nancy, there's 3 ways a jury can find reasonable doubt if this ever gets there. And one of those ways is in a conflict in the evidence. So these are all favorable things that would benefit a defendant or defendants down the road. However, there's a reason why law enforcement does investigations. Professionals do it, not podcasters talking about it. Verified sources, all of that is nonsense. The police are going to keep information to themselves. They're going to also keep information private so they can test statements that come from people and verify what they're saying based on factors that don't get released in the media. So clearly something happened after 4:30 when the Triton boat apparently left. And all of these things the police will find, they will discover. You know, the police can discover whose phones were active at the time in that whole area if they choose.
I'm sorry, but I do not have that much confidence in the police. I'm sorry, but I do not have that much confidence in the FBI. I'm sorry, but I do not have that much confidence in the DOJ.
May not be able to use it in court anymore after the recent Supreme Court decision a few weeks ago on cell site location information. However, it's an investigative tool that they can line up who's there. They can also line these things up by the boats, right? And they're calling CETO and things like that. So these are all things the police are going to verify and shake out what they believe led to this young man's death.
I can get the GPS, Morse. I can get the GPS. Yep. I can get the cell phone data. I can get the tracking data. I can tell exactly what time the boat left. But I can tell the truth of that. But I can't tell the truth right now about these conflicting reports. Was he on the boat? His phone was on the boat. That's the whole point. He's traveling with his phone, then he's on the boat. They're saying, no, he wasn't on the boat. Now this altercation has arisen, evidence of that emerging after the boat left. Who's telling the truth? The mom, his mom says, no way would he have let the boat leave without his phone. Okay, that said, the mom is getting death threats. Nolan Wells' mother dealing with not only her son is gone, he's dead. The investigation going on now, she's getting threats. Isn't it true, Susan Hendricks joining us, investigative journalist, author of Down the Hill, My Descent into the Double Murder in Delphi, that someone actually called for an investigation into Nolan Wells' mother? Isn't she a home health care nurse?
She is, and it was an anonymous call saying that she needed to be investigated. To me, it was outright backlash connected to what happened to her son. It's despicable considering everything she's already going through. Anonymous calls to say that she's not up to par and needs to be investigated. It's sickening.
All right, guys, while we're on the commercial, can you please take the time and hit the like button and share the live? Again, you got to see the play. They're releasing photos of and claiming that it's Nolan Wells, and we know that it's not Nolan Wells. Okay, now they're saying there's witnesses that seen Nolan in the water struggling with a girl. Okay, it's been over 30 days. Where's the witness statements? Where are the sworn affidavits? You're just throwing shit out there at this point. You're on a presidential campaign with one of Trump's former attorneys going back to the crime scene to do God knows what, okay? And then you just introduce a whole different narrative of alleged fight, not verified, but alleged fight. Again, hearsay. This is all a play. And I'm sorry if you can't see it, but I do see it. And this is not me thinking with my emotions. This is critical thinking. You got to understand, and this guy on here talking about the police to do this, the police to do that, the police to do this, and the police to do that. You just wait till we get to the next clip where you hear Kumo say that his source, close source to the investigation, already done told him. Let's get back into it.
Cheryl, how would you go about investigating this altercation, this alleged altercation that took place after the Triton left? Placing Nolan still at Horn Island.
Sure. I need their photo evidence if they have it. I need the eyewitnesses, the ear witnesses, who saw what, when did they see it, how can they prove it? So if they can tell me who was in the altercation with him, then we're going to bring them in if they haven't been brought in. If there's some type of something they've captured on video or a photograph, that would be great. If it's associated with a boat, does that boat have GPS? When did that boat leave? Where did they go? I want all of that. So, you take the totality. You don't just take one thing. But, you're not going to take somebody's word that just put something on the internet. Have they gone down and talked to law enforcement? Will they come down and swear to what they are saying? That's where you're going to start.
The investigation into the death of Nolan Wells is ongoing. If you know or think you know anything, don't hide under your bed. Dial 228-769-3063. Repeat, 228-769-3063. There is a $125,000 reward for information leading to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. We remember an American hero, Corrections Officer Anthony Brown, Nassau County Sheriff's, just 30.
All right, so that is the end of Nancy's video. It was a little short. Let me see. Let me make sure that her video is over, because normally Nancy goes for an hour. So let's just take a look.
Especially to you for being with us tonight as we search for the truth and the death of a young man, Nolan Wells. Nancy Gray signing off for tonight, but I'll see you tomorrow night. And until then.
Yep. This is a short little stop by just to say, hey, here's a different narrative. There was a fight out there. It was somebody struggling in the water. Yeah. Yep. Y'all don't see that. I see the play. Let's get to the next clip. But you guys know what? We can't fall for this. It's a huge distraction. We absolutely cannot allow them to gaslight us out of and make us feel like or appear to not hear what we know we heard in that call. When I tell you people that don't look like me, and I know that's not a good example, but let me just do my hair. Don't look like me, stick together, they're going to stick together. This was not even a full show, okay? And if you notice, it's a campaign that all came out at one time. You got dozens and dozens of these high subscribed content creators that are far right wing coming out talking about the cell phone. Why hasn't the Wansleys turned over Nolan's cell phone? You guys got to pay attention. Now I want to direct your attention to the video that we actually started watching yesterday, but I cut it off. No, the night before last. But I went back to it and I listened, and we should have went all the way to the end. So we're going to watch the end of it. It's Chris Cuomo. And when he was talking to Russ Latino or Latina, interesting. The police are not keeping nothing under wraps. They're actually leaking little Easter eggs. That is exactly what they're doing. They're trying to steer the narrative. That's it. Let me find the clip. I have it up. I just got to find the right tab. Thank you for your patience. Bear with me. And I believe it's down here. It is. All right. I want you to pay attention to what he says.
In the body. You have also heard that. Am I correct? I can get to it. The second is, okay, so there was water in there and he was, you have also heard that
being real, up to and including an arrest by the FBI on Friday.
And look, it is not a secret. The account Well, there are multiple accounts, but one of them is known as Kimbra Lee. And she has said that she stands by everything she says, but the posts and the content on that page has changed the last time I checked it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there have been things removed. There's also been additional qualifications, I think, in the way that it's getting presented. We know who that person is. That is a pseudonym, but we know who that person is.
It is often a pseudonym. It is often that way. Not a lot of people want to own what they put out online.
So let me say this on there are like three levels of analysis here, right? To us, at least. There's who are the defamers that are just making up things wholesale, right? And then there's a more sophisticated layer of people that we think send signals, who maybe try to skirt defamation, but actively send signals that some of these folks who are a little bit off hinge pick up on and run with. And then I think there's a third level. And whether this is moral culpability or legal culpability, we'll find out maybe. But the platforms that allow for the proliferation of very sensational conduct, defamatory statements, but candidly that have a design that not only allow for that, but that push that and that create both a profit motive for the platforms, but candidly a profit motive for the people who are creating that content.
Yep. I think it's all relevant. And of course, the shame is that this on certain levels doesn't make sense at this point, but that's because of all the layers that have been put on top of the unknown, in my assessment. Now, I am hearing from sources that I will protect close to the investigation, that the investigators do have more information from their autopsy, not the autopsy, the secondary one that was done by the family.
Now, pay attention. This is when he's going to introduce his close source to the investigation and investigators. Pay attention.
And their agents and representatives, which was, of course, going to be less conclusive, less helpful, frankly, than the initial one, because certain things were removed and kept for later investigation, which is very normal. The suggestion that they took things and hid them so the family couldn't find things out, I see no basis for that. And certainly autopsies regularly collect tissue samples and other parts of the body for examination. You have also heard that they know things about the first autopsy.
Yeah, so what I've tried to do is not to increase or...
So what Chris just did here was blatantly discredit the second autopsy while introducing that I've heard things about the first autopsy, then tried to drag Russ in to concur with him, but Russ is actually being kind of smart and staying out of it. But pay attention to what Chris is doing.
Worsen a speculative environment. There are things that I know that I think the average person doesn't know.
I think there are things that I know that the average person doesn't know that are not points of speculation. One, that they found now, and again, this could cut three different ways. They found evidence of water in tissue and cavities consistent with drowning.
Okay. So, Chris, how do you know that? Who gave you the authority to release that Easter egg to the world? See, now you're introducing stuff that you shouldn't be introducing, because no one in law enforcement or no one connected with this investigation has said anything about what you're telling us, but someone has given you permission and the authority to come out with, I believe, with lies. Flat out lies. Now take this, couple it with what Nancy Grace just did. When I tell you they stick together, they stick together. Okay? Follow me. When she introduced an alleged fight, and when concurrently Tatum clip introduced, a struggle in the water with a female. All of these are gaslighting, deflecting distractions. Let's keep going.
However, the body was also floating in the water and could have collected water. You could shoot me. I fall in the water. I could have water become the equivalent of ingested. Not that often, but it happens. In the stomach, yeah, a little bit. Depends on the condition of the epiglottis. The lungs, more common because there are more entryways that can get to it. The second is, okay, so there was water in there and he was drowned, but he had help drowning. And that the third possibility is that there was water there, but it is not conclusive. I am being told it is consistent with drowning.
Okay, who told you that it was consistent with drowning? What you didn't do was tell the water was. You said cavities, body cavities. Was it in his lungs or not? You're dropping little seeds out here. And you'll see all the little trolls out there going on and on with this narrative in the chat today. He drowned. Ha, ha, ha. He's dead. Ha, ha, ha. He drowned and he was intoxicated. Ha, ha, ha. You had the audacity to come out here with your source that's very close to the investigation before any person in authority came out and said anything about what his cause of death was and the manner of death, and you dropped little seeds of chaos in the atmosphere. And I'm sorry, guys, I ain't forgot what Nancy Grace did to Carmelo Anthony. With that being said, she did the same thing. She did the exact same thing. It is a collective stage play right before our eyes. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. You just got to follow me.
What that means investigatively is still open to interpretation. You've heard the same.
Yeah, so let me just say this briefly, that it's important to recall that even in the independent autopsy that has been made public, that there were no signs of defensive wounds noted by the pathologist.
Mm-hmm.
There were no contusions noted by the pathologist. There were no lacerations noted by the pathologist. There was no injury to bone noted by the pathologist. And so I just want to say that because I understand you're offering a hypothetical.
And I want to say, Russ, how do you know? Are you speaking about the first autopsy or the second autopsy? Did he differentiate that for us? Because I didn't catch which autopsy that he's speaking about. So I'm going to need to back that up a little bit. Because if he's talking about the first autopsy that we've never seen or heard about, then I want to know how Russ knows.
Samples and other parts of the body for examination. You have also heard that they know things about the first autopsy.
First autopsy. So, question is, come on, Truth Gang, follow me. How does the attorney of Bart Atkinson know about the first autopsy? Can you guys explain that to me? Do you guys see the play? How does he know? Listen to what he says that he knows about the first autopsy that we don't know about. Let's get back into it.
Yeah, so what I've tried to do is not to increase or worsen a speculative environment. There are things that I know that I think the average person doesn't know.
I think there are things that I know that the average person doesn't know that are not points of speculation. One, that they found now, and again, this could cut three different ways. They found evidence of water in tissue and cavities consistent with drowning. However, the body was also floating in the water and could have collected water. You could shoot me. I fall in the water. I could have water become the equivalent of ingested. Not that often, but it happens. In the stomach, yeah, a little bit. Depends on the condition of the epiglottis. The lungs, more common because there are more entryways that can get to it. The second is, Okay, so there was water in there and he was drowned, but he had help drowning. And that the third possibility is that there was water there, but it is not conclusive. I am being told it is consistent with drowning. What that means investigatively is still open to interpretation. You've heard the same.
Yeah, so let me just say this briefly, that it's important to recall that even in the independent autopsy that has been made public, that there were no signs of defensive wounds noted by the pathologist.
Okay, guys.
There were no contusions noted.
I stand corrected. I listened to it out of order. So when he's going through this list, I'm only talking about Russ. He is speaking of the independent autopsy. He will be very careful with his words, but not Kumo. Let's keep going. I stand corrected on that.
Pathologist. There were no lacerations noted by the pathologist. There was no injury to bone noted by the pathologist. And so I just want to say that because I understand you're offering a hypothetical by saying you could be shot and then put in water. I want to be very clear that even the independent autopsy did not have any indications.
There is no suggestion of gross injury. I thank you for the clarification. I do not mean to suggest otherwise. I'm saying that what I have been told, that there is evidence consistent with drowning, doesn't mean that he drowned necessarily, or that the drowning was the cause of death, or the water in there was the cause of death. I'm just being open-minded because that is the most practical way to be. Subject to, I have not seen the report of the first autopsy.
So why are you talking about it?
The second autopsy, they did find a red spot on the back of the skull, as people should be aware. What is that? It could be several different things. It could be friction. It could be rubbing.
You say he has not seen the first autopsy. So who is giving you the authority, and who has given you these two important distinctive information about the first autopsy that you have not seen? Make it make sense. Let's keep going.
Blunt force, probably not, according to the notes as reported on that second autopsy. Could have been from sitting on itself and lividity, the pooling of fluid, blood, etc. But subject to decay and decomposition, which gives you a little bit more of a qualified analysis in the second autopsy, that they didn't see as much tissue availability and be able to analyze it because it had decomposed both before the first autopsy and since the first autopsy, and things had been done to the body in the first autopsy, which made it harder for the second one. That is my understanding of it. Also, the headline information, not surprising to me, is that he was there drinking. He was seen drinking. He was known to enjoy drinking, and that's what was going on at Horn Island. You can feel any way you want about it, but it is, as a matter of fact, what the situation was about. So the toxicology early on shows a significant level of blood alcohol, the BAC level, as they call it in the body. You have also heard that. Am I correct, counsel?
I'm going to wait till the pathologist puts out the report, and I'm going to wait till the
autopsy, which made it harder for the second one. That is my understanding of it. Also, the headline information, not surprising to me, is that he was there drinking. He was seen drinking. He was known to enjoy drinking, and that's what was going on at Horn Island. You can feel any way you want about it, but it is, as a matter of fact, what the situation was about. So the toxicology early on shows a significant level of blood alcohol, the BAC level, as they call it in the body. You have also heard that. Am I correct, counsel?
I'm going to wait till the pathologist puts out the report, and I'm going to wait till the district attorney puts out the evidence that they have. What I will say,
what's safe to say is you cannot contradict me at this point.
What I will say is that I think when all of the evidence is presented, it will be overwhelming, and that it will be overwhelmingly clear from witnesses, forensic evidence, pictures, videos, that what my client has said is true. And so, you know, what I don't want to do, Chris, and I understand that in some ways you're trying to present things that could be exonerating. I don't want to be guilty of the same thing that I'm accusing other people.
I totally get it. You are trying to not be what you oppose, and you're respecting the process. I'm fine with that. I'm just saying I'm having it both ways. This is what I've heard. I can advance what information is out there, but I am, unlike many people in this space, very wary of context. Knowing that there is water in cavities in the body, I get what it's suggestive of. I get that it's consistent. I've seen this many, many, many times. It does not let me know conclusively what led to the water being in the body. That's what I'm saying. Similarly, the the blood alcohol content. Again, I could be drunk as a skunk and you could drown me. So now I have a very high blood level of alcohol, but I also didn't drown from being drunk. So you got to stay open. Very rarely is one piece of information dispositive of an analysis. And I believe that's where we are. And I get that they don't want more information to come out until they're ready to do it and to present it the way they want to. And I cannot question that, but for one thing, counsel, which is, again, outside the wheelhouse of your representation, but relevant to you as an officer of the court and as a citizen of the area. Coming out of the box hot, saying this is tragic, we have the body, we have no proof at this time of any foul play. There was no need to put that last part that way. They could have just said there was nothing obvious in our initial assessment of the body to explain what happened here. We are investigating. I think had they said it that way, this may not have escalated as quickly as it did.
So what I would say is I don't have the statement directly in front of me, but I think the statement was actually much closer to your version than the version that has been framed. My recollection is not that authorities ever came out and said there's just no foul play, point blank, the investigation is
No,
over.
They did not say it that way. You're right. They said
so
we don't have any evidence of foul play at this point.
But it's an ongoing investigation, right?
Right.
And I think, you know, that's actually not uncommon in the sense that, like, you're able to examine a body and see that there aren't signs of defensive wounds and things of that nature. I understand your point, which is people interpret it one way. It became a narrative as to, did these folks jump to a conclusion too fast? Well, what I would tell you is this, and I just want to reiterate. I think that people have every right to be skeptical. I think people have every right to have opinions about the quality of an investigation. I would say that a learned opinion would wait to see what the investigation actually uncovered. But people have the right to have those opinions. I think where it gets dangerous is when you presuppose a verdict, when you presuppose that certain people are culpable. So I don't fault anybody for asking hard questions. I do think that we're living in a society, Chris, where it is much easier to let our ADHD or our attention deficit get the better of us because we feel entitled to answers. Like something gets us fired up as citizens and we immediately feel entitled to answers. His family's entitled to answers. The people in the community are entitled to answers. There should be transparency, but there are a lot of people who view themselves as internet detectives, and their sort of short attention spans are so consuming that instead of waiting for facts, instead of waiting for evidence, instead of waiting for the investigation, they create their own theories, their own facts that are.
Well, that's like calling the kettle black. We just heard Kumo come out and give us little Easter eggs of what's on the first autopsy. So what you're saying is a moot point, and you should have no privy to what's going on in the investigation. You're not a criminal lawyer. You're just a defamation lawyer, right? Or are you a criminal lawyer? What's really going on? Let's keep going.
Completely baseless. And I think that's dangerous. And candidly, it's not just dangerous to people like my client. It's dangerous to the process. Let's assume in a case that there's actual foul play, whether it's this case or any other case. If you've got 100 theories that have been put out and then debunked. You arguably have created reasonable doubt if the investigators actually believe that there's something and someone to go after. I think that people need to think about this, not in terms of just the damage that they're causing to individuals who are innocent and are being wrongfully accused of stuff. I think they also need to think about it in terms of the damage to the process itself.
Yeah, I think that there's been an erosion over a long time. I think it's a balancing interest. For instance, I believe that other than some cases involving minors, I think there should be cameras in every courtroom. Why? Because I'm older than you and pretty much everybody watching this right now. But
okay, all right. So that is what I wanted you guys to hear from this interview. I really cannot continue to listen to this BS that they're trying to feed us, allegedly. I am not buying it. I am not ready to get distracted. I see what's going on. I see that everybody's in their acting roles, and everybody has a role. Everybody has a purpose. You do this over here. You distract this way over there. You say this right here. I see it. And a lot of us don't, and that's okay, but I see it, and I know a lot of you guys in the comments see it. So now we want to get to the interview where the friends decided that they wanted to give Officer Tatum another interview. Think about that. What are they trying to allegedly clean up? Let's get into that. I haven't watched this interview. I just learned about it. We're going to watch it for the first time together. So let's just get into that. I don't know what to think right now. What I'm seeing is deeply disturbing, in my opinion. So, Fair Use Act, guys. Educational purposes, blah, blah, blah. Everything said on this platform is my opinion. Entertainment purposes, whatever you want me to say, man. This is crazy.
Chris Cuomo here. Welcome to Cuomo Crime Time. We have new developments in Nolan Wells, a new perspective on what we know so far. Is there reason to suspect that Nolan Wells' friends had something to do with his death? Intentional, unintentional? What do you think? And on what basis, more importantly? There is new information. There is new understanding of what may be coming out. But we already know so much that has to be processed, specifically the timeline, specifically the true nature of the interactions or lack thereof between the family and the friend group. Now there's word that the friend group is raising money for what? Why? Why did the family respond to Nolan's alleged or believed, assumed friends the way they did? Brandon Tatum is a lightning rod. Why? Black guy who talks conservative politics. Black guy who supports the president. Black guy who is not open to the idea that in Nolan Wells, it's got to be about race. Went to Mississippi, had interviews that definitely shed light on who we're dealing with here and what's going on. So I asked Brandon Tatum to come back to talk about the response to what he learned, what he now knows that he can share with us, and what he believes the state of play is with what is resonating on the story of Nolan Wells. And there's one thing that we agree on right off the top. Nolan Wells was a great young man. And he was a tremendous loss, obviously, to his family, but also to his friends and to his community. And we often get distracted by how someone dies, and we forget how they lived. Even at the young age of 20, this kid made some impact on so many people, and for the right reasons. So what does Brandon Tatum know? What does he agree with? What does he disagree with? And why? Let's get after it. Brandon Tatum, thank you for joining us again.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me back.
How has the reporting that you did in Mississippi and the interviews that you did, how has it been received?
It depends on what group of people you referring to. I think that for rational people that, in my opinion, want to know the truth and they're open-minded, I think it was received very well. They got access to information that wasn't privy to the public. Obviously, law enforcement has this information already, but information that people who are interested in finding the truth wanted to hear from these young boys and their account, and they can make their decision from there. It was received very well. People are thankful, very thankful that I took the time to interview these young boys, and they got a little more clarity. When it comes to majority Black community, some of the celebrities, D.L. Hughley and others, they absolutely hate me. They think I'm Satan, and they think that I hate my mama, who's Black, just because I decided to interview people who asked me to interview them. And I don't know how people have conflated what I have done in this interview or in this process, but they have. And this is not abnormal. When you're Black in America and you don't toe the line of where, quote unquote, the Black community wants you to, then you're deemed an Uncle Tom, coon, sellout. You somehow hate your people, and you somehow working for the white man, which is furthest from the truth, man. I love everybody. I don't care nothing about race. It's pointless to think about race. I treat people based on their character, based on their integrity, based on what they present to me, and that's the end of the story.
Why do you think members of the Black, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Celebrity community, whatever it is, Black people whose names we know, why do you think that they come at you that way? You think it's about your politics, or do you think that they are worried about something that you're not showing enough concern about in their estimation?
No, a lot of these people are ignorant. They're brainwashed and emotional.
You guys know I'm always looking for simple things that can help me stay on top of my game, especially when it comes to hydration. And this is a good one. LTV. It's not just another electrolyte powder. LTV combines clinical...
I just wanted to get through that interview. Sorry.
None of them are addressing actual things that I said and actual processes that I went through to interview. They do not care about the truth, or many of them would have interviewed me and just asked me what happened and what did I do. None of them, even those who claim to be journalists, did not give an opportunity to the other side for the other side to have a voice. They did not. And the reason why is because...
Okay, so now we're going to watch Brandon Tatum play the victim, I guess, allegedly, guys.
Because they're white. And a lot of them actually hate white people. And they act like they don't. Listen to their rhetoric. Listen to the things that they've said in the past. They hate white people internally. And so when a topic comes up like this and there's an opportunity to paint white people with a broad brush, they take advantage of it. And I've seen it over the years. I've seen it growing up. I used to hate white people when I was growing up. That's just a part of the culture. And unfortunately, it rears its ugly head as soon as one of these incidents happen. And you've seen it time and time again. Go look at the comment section. How does young men who we don't really have any evidence that committed a crime, how do they get painted as criminals? How do they get painted as being responsible for the death of a person that was considered...
Well, let me answer that for you, Officer Tatum. It's when they decided to leave when they allegedly decided to leave their 18-year-old friend who they brought to a remote island and go home with his phone and didn't even know how he was going to get back. That's when. Stop being ridiculous. You're just as ridiculous as those people that says, well, Carmelo deserves to go to jail because he was the aggressor, because he was in the tent, completely ignoring the fact that Austin and Hunter Metcalf attacked Carmelo Anthony. The same bullshit that you pulled with Sonia Harris. Massey, not Harris, Massey. When you said that she had a pot of boiling water, so she deserved to get pow-powed in her face. When I tell you I'm so disgusted with this guy.
A friend. If the roles were reversed, this would be maddening.
You know what it's like to confront racism. You know it on many different levels, right? You know it as a black man, you know it as a black athlete, you know it as a black cop, you know it as a Black political advocate. You know it on a lot of levels.
It's coming up, yeah.
When you met these people, their families, what did that special or if unfortunate radar that you have built into you, what was your read on these people and the vibe in this community vis-a-vis Nolan Wells?
It was incredible. They were normal people. They seemed like great families. They seemed like they raised their children right. And the interesting thing, they had nothing but great things to say about Nolan. They all were very thankful for Nolan. They were all saddened. Even some of the parents cried when we were talking about Nolan. They were very distraught that Nolan had passed away. And, you know, they all seemed like if you go to that side that I went and talked to the people on that side, they all seemed to love Nolan. This was a loss for everybody. And there was no racial animus. They all have Black friends and everybody get along. Everybody that I talked to is like, no, the race is not a thing here. We all love everybody. Horn Island is full of a diverse group of people. We have a diverse friend group. All of these things is what is said on this side. Very welcoming. And I do not think that's the case on the other side.
Why do there have to be sides, and how do you define the other side?
Well, I don't think there should be sides, but these groups have, and I would argue that Nolan's parents and Benjamin Crump have taken a side. I said this on my live stream yesterday. I said, this should have been a community effort. When your son goes missing, when Nolan's loss is a loss for everybody. It's a loss for his parents, his siblings, his family, his friends, his coach, his football team, the community at large. Everybody lost Nolan. The effort that I think should have been brought forward is that everybody should come together to find out what happened to Nolan. These parents should be talking to these parents about who saw this boy last and what happened. That was not the case because people interjected race into this. Immediately, Nolan Wells' side says they went out with white boys. Something must have happened. The justice system is flawed, inevitably.
Okay, guys, I cannot listen to this guy. I don't know if he has dropped the full interview. I found a clip of it. I heard that the interview had dropped. I have a clip of it. I'm gonna watch this clip where the kids, it's 4 of them sitting there, and I can't listen to Officer Tatum because he's like gaslighting, in my opinion, and deflecting, in my opinion, and victim blaming, in my opinion. And I don't want it makes my blood boil. It cuts deep because I'm tired. I know we all are tired, but I found a small clip. Maybe he hasn't dropped the full interview. I heard that he did, but I can't find it. So let's just get into this.
If you can go back to the very beginning of this, how do you think this should have played out? Because I always question in my mind that when I go back, I look at what happened, I look at the initial stories with Nolan, and you guys knew him, right? I didn't know him. I know none of you guys. I just had a chance to meet you guys more recently. But how do you think this should have gone? If you could control the environment, Nolan is found deceased. How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
Well, first off, like I wish we would have never, like, I think about this every day. Like, I wish we would have never went out on the 4th of July because I know this wouldn't have happened. Nolan wouldn't be gone. And like, it's really hard to think about because it's like, I wish I would have done this different, or I wish I would have done that different because now one of my brothers wouldn't have like passed away. But I think from the beginning, I'm glad that I called the Coast Guard, and I'm glad that we came together as a group. Even from the first day when people started texting us things, saying, you know, crazy things, but I wish it wouldn't have been reported as some type of race thing. I think it's really bad that like people are pushing the narrative, oh, this is a race thing. Well, obviously it's not. I mean, this is like a brother to us. I mean, Nolan's no different than anyone else in our group. And I just wish this wasn't pushed on the media as, oh, this is a bunch of white guys that killed a black guy, or this is, you know, like in the beginning, it was like 4 guys went to a stranded island and dumped Nolan at the island and just left him there. Like even from the beginning, it was just like this thing, and no one had facts, and they were just pushing this horrible narrative, all lies about everyone, and it's sick. So I wish that would have been completely different. I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called Christine Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son. And I'm glad that I did all of that, but I hate the way this has been perceived by the media and portrayed. This has like been absolutely horrible with the way and the things that they've said to us and done. But other than that, I mean, there's not much I would change from my point of view and my friend's point of view. I think we did everything right, and I know we did nothing wrong.
I think I also want to say, I think it's so criminal that they took something so anti-racist and flipped it into something super racist. Like they took, this is the definition of anti-racism. I mean, that we did not look at Nolan any different than I looked at him, or even you. You know, this is literally our brother. I mean, like we stated, we did not treat him any different. We didn't treat.
Who is this talking? Who is this kid talking? Because you just compared the way you saw Nolan to Officer Tatum, yet you're calling Nolan like a brother. So are you saying is Officer Tatum like a brother too? Is that what you're saying? None of this is making sense at all to me. Let's go.
Treat Trayson any different. We don't treat Trayson any different. And they just flipped it. And I just think that is so wild that they're pushing this thing that they're saying, oh, they want to end racism and all this stuff. Well, they're the one pushing it. They're pushing the racism. And I just think that's kind of crazy.
Morgan, what's your thoughts on this? How does it affect you?
I mean, first I want to say, wish this would have never happened. I wish Nolan would still be here with us today. And, but in my opinion, I think that the media, they shouldn't have pushed a narrative from so early. I think that they should have let the local officials do their job, let them release statements, and then,
Okay, young man, do you know that the local officials are not releasing statements, which is the reason why speculation is out here? Which is the reason why people are trying to figure out what's going on, because it's not the norm for them not to keep the public up to date on information. So you guys are saying Nolan's side, racism. They introduced, and all they've ever asked is what happened to him. That's all they've ever asked. That's all I've ever heard them ask is what happened to Nolan Wells. That's all I'm asking is what happened to Nolan Wells. Your story is not making sense. It's not adding up. You're on a PR campaign right now, trying to save your image, allegedly. Let's go.
Media is obviously going to see that and then do whatever they do. But that's what I trust the local officials.
So guys, that was all of the interview that I was able to find. I'm not sure if there's a full interview out there, but I was not able to find that yet, even though people were talking about it. Or is it just going to be that little short clip? But it should be longer. I thought it was going to be longer, but it is not on his page. So that was that. But what do y'all think about what these young men are saying? What do y'all think about what you saw today from Nancy Grace to Chris Cuomo to Brandon Tatum and to now the kids coming out? All of it's coming out at once to try to, in my opinion, to steer a narrative. That's my opinion. What do you guys think? Let's take some comments before we get to our next clip. I found something else that we can kind of look at. Somebody says they need to stop talking. Wallace says, why did you say you didn't see him when the tapes clearly stated someone calling his name to make him wake up? I mean, this is what this is about, right? What we watched today, this is what all of this is about. They want us to forget. They want to confuse us. They don't want us to believe that we heard what we heard, but we already heard it more than once. It's out there. So this is a cleanup attempt, in my opinion. And I have a right to my opinion. You got attorneys threatening to sue each other. I mean, not each other, but content creators and platforms and media sources. Scare tactics, right? They hired a PR attorney. The former President Trump attorney is a PR attorney. My biggest issue is, why does Chris Cuomo and why does Russ Latino have inside information regarding the first autopsy? And they're out here talking about it. They want to make us believe that we didn't hear what we hear. And they want to make us to believe Nolan drowned and he was drunk. That's what they're preparing us for. What are we going to do about that? How are we going to fight back? Are we going to sit back and just let this happen when we know we heard what we heard? Let's talk about it. Morris, I can't say your name. Thank you so much for being here. It says they were coached. Soul says, okay, if they didn't unalive him, then how the F was there so many people there that day, but nobody knows what happened to, yeah, okay, tell that to God. Them boys will be judged. The law needs to hurry up and do I think the comment may have been too long. I mean, I agree. Because this is what we're watching is sickening. You're making the Wansleys out of the enemy, when they're the ones who took the greatest loss. None of them have lost anything. You have not lost anything, Warren, Wyatt, Bart, and the rest of you, Trestation. No one has lost anything. The only person who has lost something, Nolan Wells. He lost his life. Christine and Elmore Wansley, they lost their child. And right now, they can't even heal because y'all released a whole, allegedly, troll form and bots, slew of them, all over social media to attack, to gaslight, deflect, and lie. What are we going to do about it, black people? In the white people that stand with us when it comes to the truth, what are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit back and let them do another Kendrick Johnson? That's my question. That's my question. All right, so I'm going to pull up another clip. Guys, I'm feeling down. I have not lost my faith, but it's just disgusting. I want to show you this clip because I don't know if you guys have seen this interview. You actually get to hear, this is a short little clip, Nolan's interview. You get to visually see his personality, hear his voice, things like that. I'm not sure if you've ever seen this little clip, but when I did see it, it warmed my heart. So let me take this down and let's just listen to this real quick. Nolan could have been any of our child.
Y'all, I just came across something, just scrolling, trying to get some videos for the day, and I came across a Nolan Wells interview, and it was touching because we're used to seeing videos like from TikTok or just videos or a picture, something without sound. This right here, it gives me some type of insight of how his personality was. Well, give me more because, like I said, we've seen videos of TikTok with him and his friends doing dances and all of that, but I never heard his voice. There's a difference between just seeing somebody and how they acting versus how they convey themselves. But yeah, let's get into it, y'all.
How you doing? I'm good. But you've been at a big season so far this year, man. Tell us about it. How does it feel coming in for your senior year?
I mean, it's great. I'm just happy to, play with some of the best friends.
Yeah.
I play with all my life.
Yeah. You gonna probably graduate as.
I probably will.
Yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, so Nolan, you've been one of the leaders on the team, especially through some of tough games like last week. How do you personally bounce back from a loss like that?
Really just like you're trying to flush it. Because like once it's over, you can do nothing about it. Trying to have a good mentality for the next coming week. Yeah. Play hard. Have fun.
Matchups you're excited for the season? Or are you just taking each game each week by?
I'm ready for the go for it game.
You're ready to go for it game.
That's what I want.
That's gonna turn into y'all right, bro.
I want that one.
Yeah.
Man, the truth is, we got sons, we got nephews, we got cousins, we got somebody that reminds us of a Nolan Wells. We got athletes in our family. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is us. We have no choice but to keep fighting for our people that's being unalive. And
this is the kid that they're getting ready to try to convince the world who loves to drink. This is the kid they're going to try to convince the world that he chose to consume alcohol days before he returned to college and start football camp or whatever he had to do for the Division I tryout. This is the kid that we just watched that they want to convince that he took D-Rugs. I'm sorry for yelling, guys. I'm mad. I'm pissed. I don't know how to even release the anger because I'm online and I'm in front of people and I gotta be careful. But it hurts, man. It hurts. I see what they doing. Y'all, listen. You left the kid. What? I don't know how he died for a fact yet, but I don't believe he drowned, and I definitely don't believe he drowned alone, and I definitely don't believe that he was intoxicated. I am so over this, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play.
And nobody getting held accountable for it, y'all.
Or are we talking about the anomalies, like a Miss Rachel, who is now getting death threats and unfollowed just for saying black boys deserve to live? Because one ain't enough. You got to believe the history and not the anomaly. And if you look at how the actions have turned out, people like Miss Rachel are the anomaly. And all she want to do is educate kids. She said black boys deserve to live. And we look at that like, shout out to Miss Rachel, that ain't heroic, nigga. That should be the standard. Mm-hmm. You know how many people, you know how many black people died singing those same sentiments? What good nature? Or they get online and they start talking about code switching. We know what code switching is. If we know what it is, that's good enough for us. Fuck them. You care too much. They can't take anything away from them. It's not to give away. They can't steal code switching. They can't steal it. They don't have to do it. They're liars. They're living a lie. They're frauds. They're thieves. Why are you wasting your time on liars and thieves and niggas who are frauds? This is the point of MAGA. This is the point of Turning Point USA to reinstate the tenets of white supremacy under the umbrella of Christian nationalism and the political power of the Republican Party, because illiteracy aids in bigotry. This is why there's a push for anti-intellectualism, because at the core of racism, at the core of colorism, misogyny, and homophobia is ignorance. And they're directly threatened by the educated populace of America. What does Miss Rachel do? Educate. So somebody who has dedicated their life to education and also taken on education and also probably is an educated person understands the ignorance of racism, colorism, misogyny, homophobia. Because at the core of it, it is ignorance. What they say, the truth will set you free. Knowledge is power. The information is the elevation.
Yep.
All these cliches, right. And they're cliches because they fucking true. And they're threatened by the educated populace of America. They're threatened by the history of Black Americans and Black American intellectuals. Otherwise, why is there a push to ban our literature specifically?
That's right.
Why? Where's the good nature? I'll say this, since we want to talk about the hair. Are y'all still going to Black-owned beauty supply stores? Are y'all still supporting your brothers and sisters in that respect? Are we still finding black nail techs? Are we staying down with the boycott? Are we holding the line?
Man, Dante been cooking for a minute, bro. His words are so inspiring. Also, I want to give a shout out to all the white people out there who don't even have to come out and say anything, but they have been stepping up and saying things on our behalf, and they're showing their faces. Shout out to y'all, man.
Service Sam here from a Nolan Xavier Wells update. And here is something interesting. As we know, the autopsy showed a red area on the back of his neck. We also have heard little allegedly allegations that the boys on the island, when they were fighting, some people said that there looked like some people who were like MMA fighters, like jiu-jitsu fighters. Now, we also know some of the boys involved have taken jiu-jitsu, right? Stay with me. Now, if you notice, this is a jiu-jitsu or martial arts chokehold. And these types of chokeholds, they don't fracture anything. They just suffocate the victim and unalive them. And I'm not saying anything. This is all allegedly. But what if it is possible that this is what happened to Nolan and that he was choked? And wouldn't that make sense why the medical examiner would not include his throat, the lungs? Is it possibly because he was asphyxiated, choked? I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? Let me know. Secret Service Sam out.
That would make sense if they would have came out and said that the throat or anything wasn't fractured. But they ain't come out and let us know shit.
Make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Nolan Wells went missing on July 4th and his body was found on July 6th. And now, on August 7th, his so-called friends, Warren and Jax, decide that they're going to do their own investigation over a month later to try to figure out what happened to Nolan Wells. And they decide to visit Horn Island with their lawyers. And while they're there, someone snaps a candid photo and then sends that photo to TMZ along with the message that the boys were just an emotional wreck because they were back at the place where they last saw their friend, Nolan Wells. Now, here's my thing. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Warren already visit the last place that Nolan Wells was seen with Officer Big Bad Body Built? I'm confused. And we didn't see not one tear, no emotions in the interview or during his little field trip. But they say that Nolan Wells was a brother to them and they're just good old Ocean Spring boys. What? And let's not forget that Warren's stepmother, Judge Ashley Cole, was the first one to try to put out a statement to tell us about his whereabouts on the day that Nolan went missing. And then in addition to that, his father has finally decided, after they announced that the autopsy in Mississippi was complete, he announces to TMZ that he's putting a $50,000 reward out for information about what happened to Nolan Wells. A month later, at this point, between TMZ telling us a bunch of nothing and the antics and the show that is being put on, they have to think that we don't got no sense. They can't think that we smart enough to see through smoke and mirrors.
That's exactly what they turned this into, a shit show. I wouldn't even be surprised if they offered some type of TV deal or something like that. Y'all pay attention to what he say, because I'm hoping that this does happen.
So what we
Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on here, but it's something weird going.
a Nolan Xavier Wells update, and TMZ is at it again. They're saying Nolan Wells' friends overcome with emotion visiting Horn Island. Why are they going back to the island with their Trump lawyer to discover emotions? We haven't seen one bit of emotion thus far. All we know, in fact, they deleted social media profiles. They went on Officer Race Batum Tatum's podcast. The last place you should have gone for credibility. You should have only spoke to the authorities, but they thought.
Okay, so you guys are not able to hear. Someone says I can't hear them. Someone says I can't hear. Guys, I want to show you something real quick, and then we're going to hop over to Don Lemon, and then it looks like that the video, the full interview is going to premiere. Anybody in here know anything about numbers, numerology? What you call it? Numerology? Yeah, there you go. Because I'm not understanding why this interview is premiering at this time. It's an odd number. It's premiering at 8:12 p.m. Does anybody have any idea what that may or may not mean? That's a very odd number for you to premiere a video. Normally it's 8 o'clock, 8:15, 8:30, 9 o'clock, even 8:55. But 8:12 p.m. is the time he chose to premiere this interview. Is there any spiritual connection to this? All right, guys, something's going on. This is some diabolical symbolism shit going on. And I'm sorry to cuss, but that's what I'm seeing. That is what I'm seeing, because that is, and somebody said it equals 11. It equals 11. 8:12 equals 11. Well, yeah, I can see that. What does that mean, if you don't mind? But anyway, let's see what Don Lemon had to say before we hop over there again to try to watch this full interview and try to pick it apart. Let's skip through.
Everyone, welcome to Lemon Live at 5. Boy, do we have a big show for you, so I'm going to get right to it because we have some major guests waiting. We have the legendary Ty Cobb waiting, who was Donald Trump's attorney, I think, during the impeachment, and then is no longer a fan of Donald Trump, to say the least. And then Justin Pearson is here. You know, Justin Pearson just won his primary in Tennessee, and we're going to talk to him about his win and the state of the race. And we're also going to talk about what's happening with Nolan Wells. First, I want to give you a breaking news update, and then I will bring in the legendary Ty Cobb to talk about how he feels about this, about Todd Blanche being named the Attorney General, not just the acting Attorney General, but now the official Attorney General of the United States. But first, this morning we talked about, make sure you hit the like and the thumbs up. It is very important to the algorithm. More people become aware of our conversation, our channel, as you know. Okay, so this morning we talked about Nolan Wells' friends going back to Horn Island more than a month after Nolan disappeared, and he was found 2 days later. Now we have another interview that just came out. It's Warren Hudson, it's Jax Patalo, and Morgan Seymour. Some of the folks I haven't heard about this. Warren Hudson, I think he's been all over the news. We have heard about him. They sat down with Officer Tater and their attorney, J. Tyler Cox. And yes, this is the same person who already did an interview with Warren last month, an interview that got a lot of attention and a lot of criticism. So they went back to him. All right, so consider the source. That's interesting to me, because if you're trying to get people to stop focusing on you, this is a pretty strange way to do it, in my opinion. You go back to Horn Island on Friday with your lawyers. Your lawyers talk about the trip. They talk about the water. They talk about the currents. They talk about this area they call the washing machine, right? That area they call the washing machine. Then a few days later, all three of you are sitting down for another interview with the same far-right political content creator who already brought a ton of controversy into this story. I don't know if you have a crisis PR person, but if y'all are listening to me, you need to get another one. Or maybe someone's at the law firm is telling you that I've been doing media for a long time, and this is not a good strategy. So at this point, I think that we can stop pretending that this is all happening around them. They are participating in it, it appears. They are trying to shape how people see them. And I understand why. I really do. People have accused these young men of awful things. Some people, not any responsible person, but some people online have gone way beyond asking questions and have basically convicted them in the court of public opinion with no evidence. That is wrong. But trying to correct that does not mean that every move they make suddenly makes sense. In this interview, Warren says that he wishes that they had never gone to Horn Island at all. He says that he thinks about what he could have done differently. He says that Nolan was like a brother to him. And that sounds like regret to me, right? And I can believe, look, let's take him at his word that he believes what he is saying and he feels what he's saying. I'm not interested in mocking that or really picking apart every word that he says, looking for some hidden confession. But it still leaves us with the same problem, I believe. We do not know how Nolan Wells died. That has not changed. There is no official cause or manner of death. No one has been arrested. No one has been charged. His family still does not have the answers that they want. And around that huge unanswered question, we now have this very public effort by the friends and their lawyers to defend themselves. They talk about the CETO call. They point to video of a boat and they say Nolan was not there. They also, they ask why they would have called CETO and then the Coast Guard if they had something to hide. Their lawyer says that those are the actions of innocent men. Okay, that's the argument they're making. But a lawyer saying his clients are innocent is still a lawyer saying his clients are innocent. It's not an investigative finding. And the choice of Officer Tatum matters too. Or Tater, what is it, Tater? He is not some random journalist or who wandered into this case. He has a very clear political identity and a very clear audience. The last interview with him already got heat. Nolan's family pushed back on parts of the coverage, and yet they chose him again. That tells you something. It tells you that they like that platform. They think it helps them. Maybe they think his audience is more likely to believe them. Maybe they think he will give them room to tell their side without the kind of questioning they would get somewhere else. Whatever the reason, it is a choice, and people are allowed to notice it. Just as it is their choice to do it, people are allowed to notice it as well, especially when race is already part of the public conversation around Nolan's death. And they talk about that as well. They say that I think they're getting race, people talking about race and racism and racist all confused. It's not, just because you talk about race, it doesn't mean that it's racist. Just because race plays a role doesn't mean that it's racist. I mean, there are some things that, I was talking to someone today and they called it small town thinking or small minded thinking. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but it's somewhere in the neighborhood. In this new interview, the friends pushed back hard on the idea that race had anything to do with what happened. One of them says that their friendship with Nolan proves the opposite. Okay. Look, I have friends of all ethnicity. You guys know who I'm married to. I don't think that settles anything. Having a black friend does not answer every question about race. It also does not prove racism had anything to do with Nolan's death. Both of those things can be true. I'm not interested in focusing on an answer before the evidence gives us one. But I do think it is fair to ask why they keep choosing such a politically loaded place to make their case. This is now part of the story. Not because I want it to be, but because they keep making it part of the story. And that is what I was getting at this morning. If the goal is to lower the temperature, they are not doing that. They went back to Horn Island. They hired lawyers who are talking publicly. They are threatening defamation suits. Now they are doing another interview. And so that doesn't appear to be backing away at all. It's bringing more attention. And then trying to manage it. Maybe it's what their attorneys think that they have to do. Fine, if that's what they think, but then call it what it is. It is a defense strategy. It is a public strategy. And none of that answers what happened to Nolan. That's the part that I don't want to get lost in all of this, because every few days there's another thing, another interview, another clip, another lawyer, another explanation, another argument online. And Nolan is still dead. His parents are still waiting. We still don't know how he died. That is the thing that should bother everyone. Not whether Warren sounded convincing enough, not whether
Interesting, Don Lemon, because I know that you don't know, but Chris Cuomo came out and said that he has a very secured source close to the investigation that states that there was water in his body cavities. And it suggests drowning. And then he went on to say he had a very high BAC, which suggests he was highly intoxicated. I cannot, guys, I can't even get myself together today. I'm not even going to lie. I am like deeply disturbed by what I see.
Dax gave a good answer, not whether Officer Tater likes their explanation, not whether somebody on TikTok thinks they cracked the case. What happened to Nolan? What happened to Nolan? That is still the question. And I think people are tired of being told that they have to choose a side before we even have the answer. You don't have to. You can say that these young men have been unfairly accused by some people. You can also say their media choices are strange. You can say Warren sounds genuinely upset to some, to others, not so much. You can also say regret is not evidence. You can say that they have every right to defend themselves. You can also say the public has every right to look at what they are saying and ask whether it makes sense. It's not that complicated. The complicated part is the actual death investigation. And the question is, what happened to Nolan Wells? At the end of the day, an official investigation will determine that, not interviews on social media or digital platforms or far right-wing commentators.
I agree.
That's what will get the answers that people are asking for. What happened to Nolan Wells? We're going to continue to talk about this. We're going to play you some of the interview in just moments, but I want to get to my next guest here, who is Attorney Ty Cobb, who's joining us right now. And I want to talk to him. Thank you for joining us, Attorney Ty Cobb. I want to talk to you this evening about the Attorney General. And you did an explosive interview with my friend Mehdi Hassan, and you basically, correct me if I'm wrong, you're saying that our democracy is in danger with this man being confirmed as the Attorney General of the United States. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. What do you say?
He's here, but I'm not sure he can hear us.
I can hear you now. I couldn't hear you the whole time, though, up to now.
Could you hear me? Could you hear what I said to you?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Yes, we got you. Okay.
I think he can hear me, but not you.
I can hear you, but I can't hear Don.
Okay, tell him to go out and come back in.
And I was fine until you started the show, and then it died.
Do you mind leaving the studio and coming back in? It
Not at
usually
all.
fixes the problem. Thank you.
Okay. So as we do that, a word from our sponsors.
America has a lot of religions and a lot of people who are not that religion.
I want to ask you, Ty, can you hear me?
Hey, Don, I got you now.
Oh, thank you very much. So listen, I want to ask you about the person who's confirmed to be Attorney General, Todd Blanche. You did an explosive interview with my friend Mehdi Hassan, and you said basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, correct me if I'm wrong, you think that our democracy is in danger with him confirmed as the Attorney General of the United States.
Yes, I think it's in danger with him as the head of the Justice Department, which he's been for several months now, of course. Keep in mind, Trump terminated Bondi because she was not pursuing his revenge prosecutions successfully enough or at a pace that he preferred. Blanche got the message loud and clear, promptly indicted Comey, rewarded Trump, alluding the Treasury for $1.8 billion to set up a slush fund, and then immunized Trump and his every life form on the planet is related from IRS penalties and interest and further scrutiny. So yes, I think we're in severe danger. We've got an attorney general who, not since John Mitchell have we had anybody whose character has been so in question. And I think the elections are imperiled because of his presence.
You think the elections are in peril? Talk to me about that, Ty. Why do you say that?
Oh, very much so. I mean, I've been talking about the election since January of 2024 or 2025 when Trump was sworn in. Trump does not intend to allow the elections to go normally or to honor the results, which are likely to sweep the Republicans at least out of the House, if not the Senate. Blanche will be his point person as he and Mike Johnson refused to seat Democrats in January of next year. And
I'm gonna be honest with you. I do not like talking about politics. Put a 1 in the chat if you want me to skip through this part. Put a 2 in the chat if you want to listen to this. 1 in the chat if Auntie Leah can skip through. I hate politics. 2
keep
in the
in
chat
mind, Bill Barr was
if you want to listen.
asked by President Trump to seize voting machines and ballots in an election in 2020 where Trump got beaten by 7 million votes.
Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Barr,
thank you. Because you ain't
Bell
talking
and
about
Stephen Miller.
shit. Oh, Lord. There's
the
the
anti-weaponization fund. Do you think it's still alive at this point? And are there any options that you're looking at to perhaps?
Well, that'll be up to Todd Blanche. He was our new and
the anti-weapon. They're up in a explain to
us about this.
And
face the nation.
Yeah. Unlike everyone, if you're going to make.
Does anybody
is a suffered because I think.
Okay, he's on here a long time. I might just have to get rid of this interview. I do not want
strategy. It's the strategy of the lawyers. Oftentimes, you see lawyers who are more interested in seeing their name in print or on the air. Or
some people said one
at a time when it would be in their client's interest to just shut up. I'm
gonna rewind it just a little bit, okay, guys?
And I guess their attorneys are there with them. Their media strategy is causing people to scrutinize, like, what are they doing? Does your attorney and the folks you do interviews with, do they have any influence on public perception, especially if it is a former Donald Trump attorney in this environment and you have a case that is, there's some heated things about race and all of that going on?
Yeah, I think that's very tragic of what's going on there. I think, certainly when you say their strategy, it's really not the, kids' strategy. It's the strategy of the lawyers. Oftentimes you see lawyers who are more interested in seeing their name in print or on the air or at a time when it would be in their client's interest to just shut up. It's a difficult decision whether to come forward and generate press. Typically, you do that in the face of injustice. I do think, to the extent that the people that are being maligned are being unfairly maligned, it's reasonable for a lawyer to speak up. But I think the amount of talking in the various places that they're doing it is they're probably oversaturating it. I think, we just don't know enough really about what happened. And I think until the toxicology results come out and the autopsy is final, nobody should be saying anything.
Yeah. Mr. Cobb,
on the other hand, they have been threatened.
I need him to tell that to Chris Cuomo, because Chris Cuomo came out prematurely and dropped Easter eggs for the other side to nibble on. There's nobody paying attention but me. Let's keep going. In the truth gang, I ain't gonna leave y'all out.
And it is important to push back on the people that are threatening them. So,
yeah, 100%. No one should be receiving threats. Remember, the kids, the young men received threats. I think one of their parents, as a judge, did. None of that is right. The Wells family, the mom, right? Threats.
Yes.
And even the some of the other folks who were involved, threats, the attorneys and all of that. But my question is that, yes, they hired attorneys for that. I think those were different attorneys, I believe. Don't quote me on that. But the attorneys are now saying slander and defamation. That's a high bar. I mean, you tell me, what do you think?
It's a very high bar. On the other hand, in these circumstances where people don't know anything, people shouldn't be making accusations. So it is highly possible that somebody has made some, untrue allegations that have demeaned and denigrated these people unfairly. We'll see that sort out. I do think, having somebody, particularly given the number of press people and other people and public officials and others that are speaking out critically of the people who were with the poor victim. Having somebody write a cease and desist letter, et cetera, that's all important work legally. And it's important to push back on those statements if they are indeed unfair. But at the same time, you don't need to go on TV or give press releases every time you do it.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm going to do a real quick test real quick and I'll hit play. Free Carmelo. Free Carmelo. That's the test.
Ty Cobb, man, what an honor to have you on the show. I really appreciate you coming on.
I don't know about that, but I appreciate it. And, keep up the fight, man. We're in it, and it's going to be slogged through the elections.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. I just want to know, on a scale of 1 to maybe there's hope to, 10, we're up Schitt's Creek. Where are we now?
So your friend Mehdi, who you mentioned, asked me the same question. And I think my succinct responses were screwed.
That's the lawyerly technical term. We're screwed. Thank you, Ty Cobb. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Thank you. You as well. And that is someone who has a backbone. That's someone you call on when if you need someone, if you have an emergency or if you're in a legal situation, someone who's not going to be afraid to stand up against power. That's what attorneys do. And that's what journalists do in a sense, because we hold truth to power. And that's what we're supposed to do. But in this day and age, it is difficult. That is rare, few and far between, as they say. Now, as promised, I told you that we were going to listen to some of the interview, okay? That went down, and then we're going to bring in Justin Pearson in just minutes. But this is some of the interview that I was discussing at the top of the show of these young men who sat down again with a far right-wing commentator along with their attorney. Here it is.
If you can go back to the very beginning of this, how do you think this should have played out? Because I always question in my mind that when I go back, I look at what happened, I look at the initial stories with Nolan, and you guys knew him, right? I didn't know him. I know none of you guys. I just had a chance to meet you guys more recently. But how do you think this should have gone? If you could control the environment, Nolan is found deceased. How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
Well, first off, I wish we would have never, I think about this every day. I wish we would have never went out on the 4th of July, because I know this wouldn't have happened. Nolan wouldn't be gone. And it's really hard to think about, because it's like, I wish I would have done this different, or I wish I would have done that different, because now one of my brothers passed away. But I think from the beginning, I'm glad that I called the Coast Guard, and I'm glad that we came together as a group, even from the first day when people started texting us things, saying, crazy things. But I wish it wouldn't have been reported as some type of race thing. I think it's really bad that people are pushing the narrative, oh, this is a race thing. Well, obviously it's not. I mean, this is like a brother to us. I mean, Nolan's no different than anyone else in our group. And I just wish this wasn't pushed on the media as, oh, this is a bunch of white guys that killed a black guy, or this is, in the beginning it was like 4 guys went to a stranded island and dumped Nolan at the island and just left him there. Even from the beginning, it was just like this thing, and no one had facts, and they were just pushing this horrible narrative, all lies about everyone. And it's sick. So I wish that would have been completely different. I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called Christine Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son. And I'm glad that I did all of that, but I hate the way this has been perceived by the media and portrayed. This has like been absolutely horrible with the way and the things that they've said to us and done. But other than that, I mean, there's not much I would change from my point of view and my friend's point of view. I think we did everything right, and I know we did nothing wrong.
I think I also want to say, I think it's so criminal that they took something so anti-racist and flipped it into something super racist. Like they took, this is the definition of anti-racism. I mean, that we did not look at Nolan any different.
Let me just say this. Don't come in my chat dissing the dead. Do not come into my chat making fun of Nolan Wells being dead. Don't do it. I will ban you immediately. Do not come into my chat disrespecting Nolan Wells.
And I looked at him, or even you. You know, this is literally our brother. I mean, like we stated, we did not treat him any different. We didn't treat Trayson any different. We don't treat Trayson any different. And they just flipped it. And I just think that is so wild that they're pushing this thing that they're saying, oh, they want to end racism and all this stuff. Well, they're the one pushing it. They're pushing the racism. And I just think that's kind of crazy.
Morgan, what's your thoughts on this? How does it affect you?
First I want to say, wish this would have never happened. I wish Nolan would still be here with us today. And, but in my opinion, I think that the media, they shouldn't have pushed a narrative from so early. I think that they should have let the local officials do their job, let them release statements. And then, the media is obviously going to see that and then do whatever they do. But that's what I trust the local officials.
Okay. Where do we start? Okay. Why did they put these young men in a position where people would have to respond to what they had to say? Because as you heard what Ty Cobb said there's nothing wrong with the attorneys getting out there, releasing a statement if they want to do a cease and desist or whatever it is, but to put these young men out there who they're young and they're naive. Let's put it that. Of course they are. They're young. They're 18 years old. First of all, there's a difference. People are mostly discussing the element of race in this case. And speaking about race or the element of race is not necessarily racism or racist. There is a difference. There's nuance. Everything is not black and white. And so I'm not sure if they understand that. From what it sounds like, in my opinion, they don't understand what the difference is. And perhaps they don't. Look, this is what happens, quite honestly, when you live in privilege and you don't understand. Because with that, for me, I know that the people I know would have said something akin to, I love Don like a brother and we didn't treat him any differently, but of course we're aware, we are keenly aware of someone who has a black friend of the injustices that happen to black people and black men. We talked about that always. That was one of the reasons that I loved Don, because he held us to account on those issues and he helped us to understand. So our loss is even greater because not only did we have a friend, we had someone who could educate us and teach us things that we may not necessarily have gotten in our own bubble. But just as I said with the Emmanuel guy and maybe some of the folks who are advising these kids, sometimes you're too close to the forest. You can't see the forest for the trees. Sometimes you need people to come and hold up a mirror so that you can see, because people are, I understand that you got along and you felt you got along in where you live. Okay, I'm not discounting that. but you can't discount the whole history of Mississippi and the South and the United States and the present as well. Look at the moment that we're living in. Look at what is happening with issues that are important to Black people specifically. I was going to say people of color, but to Black people specifically. Look at what's happening with the banning of books and all of that.
Agree.
Look at what happened. Look at where we live right now.
Guys, let's be realistic. They honestly wiped us from history. If you think about it, everything that our ancestors has ever been through, they watered it down. Today, I came into a realization that we really have never been freed from slavery. It's just a different type of slavery that we are experiencing today. They still have such a stronghold over our lives with laws and procedures. What they want to feed us is a perception of what freedom is. But if you really think about it, we're not free. We're not free from this oppression. We're not free from slavery, if that makes sense. It's a watered down version of slavery. If the law enforcers, police officers, are given badges to hunt us down and unalive us with no consequences, we're not free. If our wages are not equal, we're not free, man. We're not free. If we are constantly denied justice, we're not free. And I didn't even know that. If they don't give Nolan Wells the justice that he deserves, we can't just sit back. That's all I got to say about that situation. We got 10 minutes until this video starts, okay? But when I tell you my spirit is heavy, I can't even be myself today. I'm hurt because I'm constantly seeing what they're doing to our people just because we don't look like them. We're not free.
Look at what's happening surrounding the elections and diminishing Black voting rights and Black political power in this country. Those are all real things. And doing an interview with a far right-wing commentator who is, by many people's assessment, is a man of color, but his commentary is very anti-Black, according to the zeitgeist. And if you listen and watch what he says, when he talks on his thing about you melanated people and, just all kinds of just bizarre things. And they can't understand that. If they wanted to really make a difference and they wanted to change public opinion for them, and I don't know if it's their choice or their attorney's choice. I would imagine the first time it was either their choice or their parents' choice, and then they lawyered up, and now it's the lawyer's choice. But I'm meaning the adults. I don't believe that they're serving these young men well. Because the more they try to defend them or put them out there to defend themselves, it's not that they're incriminating themselves because they don't have anything to incriminate, but they are digging into the public perception about the things that I have just discussed, about Mississippi, about ideology. about any of those things. And then there is an attorney. I don't know if it's strategically or just, well, it has to be because they picked their attorney. Because I was going to say, but I don't know if they chose them strategically, but I don't think it's a secret that one of the attorneys that's out there reportedly is an ex or a former Donald Trump attorney who has represented him in legal cases. I think CBS, I think it was a Wall Street Journal, but it was a CBS and others in other cases. That doesn't bode well for the court of public opinion, except for in your own particular demographic and political realm. That may play with some of those. It may play well in that stratus, with that demographic. But for the larger world, this is not a good look. And not saying you're guilty or innocent. No one is saying that at all. We're talking about the strategy now. As I said in the opening monologue, this is not just happening to you. This is strategic.
Very strategic. I've told you guys it was strategic.
It is painfully transparent, the strategy here. And guess what? At the end of the day,
Truth Gang, didn't I just tell you guys that? Didn't I just try to explain that in the beginning, that what was happening was a staged play? Everybody's in character. You got this person dropping this Easter egg. I'm sorry, even Nancy Grace has a part. You may not see it today, but I see right through it. She came for 30 minutes and introduced a different narrative. Why? To take our eyes off of the CTO call. What is it? The Mandela effect? You guys ever heard of that? Every one of them has a role in this. We haven't even seen the half of what's about to go down. We have to stay vigilant, people. Stay in faith, stay strong, keep fighting, keep speaking his name. Man, my heart hurts, man. My heart hurts. You got to see the play, guys. You got to see the play. Please, see the play. Even Don Lemon is saying it. It's strategic what they're doing.
Though, having said all of that, maybe the only people who need to be convinced are the people who are closest to them, or in their own public opinion, the people that in their circle or circles. Maybe that's the only folks that they're trying to convince because that's the only people who matter to them. I don't know. As someone who's been doing this for a long time, I can see it coming. As I said to Ty Cobb, I could see Donald Trump from a mile away. And having lived in New York, I've seen him. People thought he was a clown here in New York, just a character that appears on page 6 and in the tabloids, in the gossip rags, who had a bunch of wives and cheated all the time and couldn't handle his business, who couldn't handle his own business. So I don't know. And so to see that, it reminds me of Trump and the whole situation around him and how people buy into it and buy into the whole thing that he was some great businessman simply because of media strategy. And maybe they think that's going to work. That kind of thing is going to work here. So maybe the only people that they need to convince are the people who are in their circle. I don't know. Anyways, I want to continue on. We're going to bring in our Washington, D.C. correspondent to discuss some of the issues that we have today, to discuss.
Okay, so we just have a few more minutes before we head over to BT's YouTube channel to watch the full interview of those boys. Fam, Truth Gang, we got to keep going by any means necessary. See, there was a white content creator who was popping her shit. I ain't gonna say her name. She was allegedly one of the first to get a cease and desist. She was popping her shit. Everybody started following her. And when she heard that she was going to get sued, she got excited. She proclaimed, I'm going to be on TMZ. I'm getting famous. You're not going to mess with me. I'm an attorney. Blah, blah, blah. And 3 days later, you seen my people, sending Cash App, maxing it out multiple times a day. She would post, I'm sorry guys for yelling, a new Cash App, only to retract what she said about Nolan Wells. Keep the Cash Apps that we sent her. I didn't send her nothing. And then start talking about Kendrick Johnson. You grifting off of our dead kids. And my people are following her. My people are giving her the money. And can't even see that she removed everything she said about Nolan Wells. Just like his attorney said. Did she return a Cash App? Nope. This is what we need to wake up from. You flipped to Kendrick and you don't know how this channel feels about that kid right there. You don't know nothing about him, and I don't believe you care about him, because if you would have really cared about our black children, you would have stood on business. Because you're not going to be able to send me a cease and desist and make me shut up or take anything down. Let me head on, because I said I wasn't going to bring this up. I said I wasn't going to bring it up. But when I seen that, it hurt me. But then again, she don't look like me. So I can only imagine her saying, I ain't getting sued over no black kid. And here we are, blind following. Okay, the video has started. Okay, pull it up now, okay? But we send her, maxing her cash out, maxing it out. And then when people are saying, well, what happened to Nolan? What happened to Nolan? She's not telling them the truth. I can talk about who I want to talk about. I even offered her. I'm like, listen, you're saying the wrong thing about Kendrick. That's not what happened. Because you guys know I know about what happened to Kendrick Johnson. Listen, let me send you the files, because I want everybody to talk about the kid. But I want you to say the same the correct thing. Ignored me. Didn't want the information. It's a grift. Please hurry up and start video before I say too much. But I think that some of you guys know who I'm talking about. Sue me. I'm an attorney. You're not going to sue me. My people stood up. Cash App. Only to fold. And keep all the Cash App. Took everything down. Flip to a kid that this channel deeply loves. And that's Kendrick Lamar Johnson, who died on January 11, 2013. So please don't get mad at me if you see me flipping out on Facebook every once in a while. I'm not being messy. I'm being real. Let's get into this. And I apologize if I offended anybody.
Obviously, before this happened, I would assume you're living a regular life, young guys being in college, having a typical experience. Then you lose your friend.
I think like ever since it happened, my life just like hit like a hole. Like even going out,
we're always paranoid. Somebody's gonna see us, get spotted, try to beat us up potentially, or even worse.
You just met these young men more recently. And are you confident that these young men had nothing to do with it? We have Ed Pausick, Warren, Jax, and then we have Morgan here. And so I talked to Warren last time I was here. We had a really deep conversation, and I'm glad that we were able to get other perspectives now that we have Ed here. Ed is a defamation attorney. And I want to start with you, Ed. Why did you choose to work with the boys? What is your plans? What do you expect to get out of working with them? What's your expectations when it comes to defamation?
Well, I think an injustice in one place is an injustice everywhere. I hate lying. I care about the truth, but most of all, it's the actual people who are involved here. So first of all, I just want to say Tyler Cox really welcomed me here. My co-counsel, he's an incredible human being and he's an incredible attorney. And then after that, I had an opportunity to meet these incredible young men. And I just got to say, these guys are unbelievable. Warren, Jackson, Morgan, they're just beautiful people. They're really decent human beings. They're just great people. And, that's why I'm here, because I want to help great people. And this is a very sad situation, but it's also a very human situation. And it's a tragedy.
So you guys have, obviously before this happened, I would assume you're living a regular life, young guys being in college, having a typical experience. Then you lose your friend, Nolan. And after that, what has life been like for you guys?
I think like ever since it happened, my life just like hit like a hole, like it just stopped. And I mean, we just got to live day by day from now on.
I could say definitely a whole flip upside down for our lives. It's like even going out, we're always paranoid. Somebody's going to see us, get spotted, try to beat us up potentially, or even worse. We're really just trying to stay low key and not go out as much or anything like that.
It's been hard because my friends and our people. I mean, we like to be out and hang out outside of our friend group, and not being able to like go certain places or, walk around in public because our head's always on a swivel. It's really affected all of us. I mean, especially in like my family's standpoint, my safety comes first. My friends and family safety come first too, and it's been really hard because I'm worried about like my family as well with me, and it's hard, but we're just going day by day and just trying to get through every day.
Can you give me some examples of what has happened? Have you guys had things happen online, threats online? Have you guys have any examples of people accosting you or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we have had countless death threats online. Been spotted. I'll let you elaborate more on that. Being spotted.
I mean, people have obviously just pointed us out. I mean, as a group and even on a one-on-one setting, I think it's really just like awkward because I don't want to talk about this, and I know my friends don't want to talk about this any more than we need to. We're still mourning one of our best friends' death, and it's hard to speak about it when, like sometimes we just need some alone time, or sometimes we just need to, lay back and not be around all this. And I mean, I've been called out in public, and I haven't been in public that much. I know my friends have had encounters in public. The threats have been insane from, my stepmom and my dad, my mom, everyone included, like even my brothers and my sisters. And it's just hard. I mean, it's unbelievable where like this has been taken to and the level where this is at.
When you say you've been called out in public, can you give me an example of like, what do you mean? People are threatening you with weapons? People are, not allowing you, denying you service? Because I heard that Trayston, he went to a corner store and they told him his money is not good there. They wouldn't even let him buy Gatorade.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing things like that or something totally different?
Right. I wouldn't say like that. I think I haven't been denied, anything, but like Trayson, it's hard to hear from a good friend of mine that he's getting denied a Gatorade and a Red Bull before work and having to, like, he calls me, he's like, dude, you won't believe what just happened. He got called out at Walmart. Someone called him out at Walmart and was like asking him all these questions and trying to press him about.
So y'all need to go send me account for a Gatorade and Red Bull. You're saying that Trayson got denied a Gatorade and Red Bull. So you need $200,000 or more to defend yourself. Stop the cap, Warren. Stop the cap.
And it's crazy to me. Like, we live in a very tight-knit community, and for people to, push back and say these things when they know what Ocean Springs is like, it's really hard. And I mean, I haven't had many personal encounters, but I know being around the guys and stuff like that, they have. So.
And Ed, as an attorney that's representing these boys, I mean, what does that make you feel like? Do you feel like you got a good case here, or what's your perspective in that? Because people are online, and obviously they know who you are. Obviously they know you represented Donald Trump in some pretty high-profile cases, and so now that you've joined, or at least now you work for the young men here. You hear them say things like they've been accosted, they've been, threatened online. Does that make your case a greater case, or how do you work within what's happening to these young men?
Well, unfortunately, I wish there was no case. I wish this hadn't happened. But unfortunately, because these things did happen, there is a case, and now there's multiple cases. And I'm going to tell you something. If you're out there and you lied about these guys, you lied about my guys, you lied about Tyler's guys here, if you lied about Morgan, if you lied about Jax, if you lied about Warren, we're going to get you. And you're going to be hauled into court. You're going to be held accountable.
There it is. There is the other play. The scare tactic. The scare tactic. Whoever this guy is, I want to cuss you out right about now. But all I'm going to say is G-I-D Y'all will know what I want to say. I don't give a fuck. Sue me.
And it's going to be very
and God
painful.
Forgive me.
And what I would say to the people who have done that is, now's your chance. If you want to apologize and retract,
Not ever going to
before you find yourself in court, you should probably do that now.
I'm not.
Because if you don't do that, once you're in court, now you just can't leave. You won't be able to get out of it.
I can get out of it because I don't got nothing for you to have. Okay? That's all I got to say. I ain't gonna stop it no more, y'all. I promise you. I just want to choke somebody, reach out and touch somebody's neck. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
I'm not going to name names because there's some other folks who are doing that, and we want to be better than that. And I want to emphasize this, right? We're not here to guess. We're not here to speculate. We're only going to deal in facts, right? And here's the most important thing, right? We don't know how Nolan Wells died. No one here is saying we know. But what we do know is Morgan, Jax, and Warren had nothing whatsoever to do with Nolan Wells' death. And that's what's important. And unfortunately, because there are people who want to divide a town and come in from the outside and tell people what to think and pit neighbor against neighbor, it compounds the tragedy. It magnifies the tragedy. And I just want to say this. Here's why it's an even bigger tragedy. Because my friends here, Morgan, Jax, and Warren, these guys are not just the finest that Ocean Springs has to offer, finest that Mississippi has to offer. These are the finest young men that America has to offer. Really great people.
Fine men do not leave their friends on a remote island while intoxicated, claiming he's sloppy drunk and he decided to stay on the island. Fine men will recognize if he was sloppy drunk that he was not able to make good decisions and they would have made him get on the boat or stay behind. So stop the cat. Now he's pissing me off over there with that Trey Station arm syndrome. wrapped up.
People. And Tyler actually taught me good Ocean Springs people. That was one of the first things I heard when I got here. So I'll just say that they're good Ocean Springs people.
Sorry to interrupt. I know you're enjoying this incredible
Let me
interview.
skip past you because I'm not.
And subscribe button, and also join. Just met these young men more recently. And are you confident that these young men had nothing to do with it?
Confidence not a strong enough word. In fact, beyond a reasonable doubt is not strong enough. There's a 0% chance that they did anything wrong. So this is not 90%. It's not 99%. It's not 99.9999. There's no decimals. There's no anything. It's 100%. 100.000%. Nothing. They did nothing wrong. And that's the problem for our opponents here, who have ruined their lives, dragged them through the mud, and attacked them. You don't get to lie. We have a First Amendment. We love our First Amendment, but you don't get to lie and hurt people. You want to lie and it doesn't hurt people? Fine. You lie and you hurt people. That's why we have defamation.
This is nothing but a threatened, hush your mouth type of interview. You guys see the play I was talking about? You guys see the play? Kumo dropping Easter eggs about what the autopsy said. Nancy Grace introducing a different narrative. Scare tactics have now come into play. Do you guys see the play? It is an attempt to silence. It is an attempt to confuse. It is an agent of chaos that has been leashed over this whole case. Has been released over this whole case. You guys see the play yet? Because Auntie see it.
And that's what this is about. So I just want to emphasize this in the strongest possible terms. Zero wrongdoing. Completely innocent. Totally innocent. And categorically innocent.
And you guys have had experiences with either people threatening you online. I know that, Warren, we talked about this before, and we talked a little, or at least spoke a little bit about when you go out, you guys are getting accosted by people. Can you give us an example of, or at least tell the audience an example of an incident where you guys may have been accosted, or what does that look like when you go out? People threaten you with weapons, or people trying to physically harm you, or people having to be restrained? What kind of engagement is happening when you guys go out?
We went to a restaurant, a couple of buddies of mine, and when we were, I wouldn't say threatening with weapons or anything, but I felt, and I know my friends felt, threat for our lives. I mean, I don't think there was like a fear factor, but at the same time, like it's awkward in public, like I stated, like when we have to talk about these things. But we went to a restaurant and someone came up to me and was like, "Is this you?" And I was kind of like shaken up about it. Well, at first she asked like my name and, you know, like all these questions. And I was like, okay, whatever, you know, she's coming up to talk. Well, then she came up to me again and showed me our first interview and was like, "Are you sure this isn't you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that's me, like, obviously." And she kind of just, I looked at my buddy and I was like, "Yeah, we're leaving, like close everything out, like we're going." And I left, and there was an altercation after I left with some of my buddies that weren't involved in this at all. And they told my friends that they were going to kill them and they wanted to fight and all this. Like,
involved in what, Warren? Involved in what? Do tell. Involved in what, Warren? Do tell, sir. Y'all catch that? I caught it. Involved in what, Warren? Let's keep going.
Crazy stuff. I mean, I wasn't there, but my friends told me this, that what the people were saying to them was like totally just crazy. Like, I mean, there was people like that were, you know, outside of this telling us like, "Hey, you need to leave before something happens, because I know what could go down right now. And like, I know that these people are crazy." So, I mean, we all felt, we were kind of shaken up about that. It was weird because it was our first encounter as a group. And I think it's also like just crazy that people will like look at you in the eye and tell you they'll kill you because they believe you killed your best friend and you have nothing to do with it.
And Morgan,
How many of you guys know? I'm sorry, I have to stop it sometimes. How many of you guys know that that's not what our culture do? That's not what we do. That's what they do. That's what white supremacists do, right? That's what Karens and Kents do. Put a one in the chat if you guys know that that is not what we as a culture do. We don't go harassing you. We don't go threatening you in your face. We're just going to do it, right? Look at this. They want to become victims. Diabolical. Diabolical. We don't do that shit. Period.
Jax, were you guys there?
Yes, we were there.
I was there.
I didn't hear the part where they said they were going to kill him and stuff, but I did hear whenever she came up to him originally, she was like, hey,
that's what they do.
Do you have like TikTok or anything like that? Your face looks really familiar. And he was like, no, I don't have TikTok or anything like that. She was like, oh, okay. And then walked off and then came back with, like you said, the first interview on her phone and showing him. She's like, so this isn't you. Either you have a doppelganger or this is you. And he was like, well, yeah, that's me. And then we got the check and we bounced and we were waiting outside for everybody else to get out of there. And while we're waiting outside is whenever some of our other buddies that aren't even on social media that we were just there with was getting told that other people were going to kill them and all that kind of stuff.
So how did that make you guys feel did you think they were serious? Did you think it was just people trying to make a name for themselves by confronting you in front of others? Like, what was your take on that, Morgan?
I think it was just like I was in the general area of where one of our buddies was, where this altercation happened, and I actually got into a conversation with a fellow next to me that wasn't even involved, and he told me straight up, he was like, if I was y'all right now, I would leave before y'all get hurt. Y'all need to leave right now. I'm just watching out for y'all.
So this right here, this whole interview basically is a play to convince the world that they are victims. This whole interview is a gaslighting deflection platform to try to convince the world, allegedly, that they are being threatened. Their lives are being threatened. Their lives are in danger. They're scared. Basically, can you please donate more to our Go Send Go account? Because we are the victims. We are the victims. Justice for Warren, justice for Bart, justice for Jax, justice for Trestation. We are the true victims. That's what they're trying to throw at us right now. Are you kidding me? I can't.
And making sure y'all are safe. And I mean, I wouldn't say that those people would have physically done something in that moment, but I think they were playing like almost like a mental game, like just to get into your head and just almost like make yourself like just think these things that obviously are not true.
If you can go back to the very beginning of this, how do you think this should have played out? Because I always question in my mind that when I go back, I look at what happened, I look at the initial stories with Nolan, and you guys knew him, right? I didn't know him. I know none of you guys. I just had a chance to meet you guys more recently. But how do you think this should have gone? If you could control the environment, Nolan is found deceased. How do you guys think that this should have been put out to the world?
So first off, I wish that none of this would ever happen. I wish Nolan could still be here with us today. And I wish that, like I said, none of this would ever happen. Like I wish that all this could be erased and Nolan could be here tomorrow. I mean, that's more than anything. But other than that, I feel like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess. I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think if those would have never happened, a lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or gone all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion. And the fact that it was our best friend and it's not what people are saying it is what hurts the most. I mean, that was our brother. I mean, straight up. That's what I told his dad the night that he came over to my house. He was like, blah, blah, saying something.
I need them to stop calling Nolan Wells their brother. Because as a Black woman, we would never leave our siblings on a remote island with no for sure way back home. We would never leave our siblings without their phone. Matter of fact, we wouldn't care if we drove all the way to the crib with their phone. Once we noticed that we had our siblings' phone, guess what we're going to do? Get back on the water. Get back on the water. U-turn. And we don't care if we got to fill the boat back up. Have some gas money when it comes to our people, our friends, our brothers, our sisters. First of all, we would never left. We never left. You guys know that. But perhaps we did. The very second that we knew we had the phone, we'd have been back on that water with suspended license if we had to. We wouldn't have cared. We'd have went and found our brother. Stop calling Nolan your brother. He wasn't your brother. He wasn't your friend. He wasn't even your associate. And that's my opinion, and I have a right to it. Let's keep going.
I was like, dude, that was my brother. Like, and you know that. He knows that. We were picking him up every single day. He never drove. I can't tell you how many times I pulled up in his driveway and picked him up. And it wasn't him asking. It was just because that's what we did. We just picked up Nolan all the time. That's how we, came about to all the stuff that we were going to. We'd go and pick him up. That's how much we like to be around him. We would do stuff like that all the time,
Well, first off, like, I wish we would have never, like, I think about this every day. Like, I wish we would have never went out on the 4th of July because I know this wouldn't have happened. Nolan wouldn't be gone. And, like, it's really hard to think about because it's like, I wish I would have done this different, or I wish I would have done that different, because now one of my brothers wouldn't have, like, passed away. But I think from the beginning, I'm glad that I called the Coast Guard, and I'm glad that we came together as a group, even from the first day when people started texting us things, saying, crazy things. But I wish it wouldn't have been reported as some type of race thing. I think it's really bad that, like, people are pushing the narrative, oh, this is a race thing. Well, obviously it's not. I mean, this is like a brother to us. I mean, Nolan's no different than anyone else in our group. And I just wish this wasn't pushed on the media as, oh, this is a bunch of white guys that killed a black guy, or this is, like, in the beginning, it was like 4 guys went to a stranded island and dumped Nolan at the island and just left him there. Like, even from the beginning, it was just like this thing, and no one had facts, and they were just pushing this horrible narrative, all lies about everyone, and it's sick. So I wish that would have been completely different. I'm glad I called the Coast Guard. I'm glad I made the first contact within all of this. I'm glad I was the first one that called Christine Wells that night and told her that we haven't heard from her son. And I'm glad that I did all of that, but I hate the way this has been perceived by the media and portrayed. This has, like, been absolutely horrible with the way and the things that they've said to us and done. But other than that, I mean, there's not much I would change from my point of view. From my friend's point of view, I think we did everything right, and I know we did nothing wrong.
I also want to say, I think it's so criminal that they took something so anti-racist and flipped it into something super racist. Like they took, this is the definition of anti-racism. I mean, that we did not look at Nolan any different than I looked at him, or even you. This is literally our brother. I mean, like we stated, we did not treat him any different. We didn't treat Trayson any different. We don't treat Trayson any different. And they just flipped it. And I just think that is so wild that they're pushing this thing that they're saying, oh, they want to end racism and all this stuff. Well, they're the one pushing it. They're pushing the racism. And I just think that's kind of crazy.
Morgan, what's your thoughts on this? How
Well,
does it affect you?
First I want to say, wish this would have never happened. I wish Nolan would still be here with us today. And, but in my opinion, I think that the media, they shouldn't have pushed a narrative from so early. I think that they should have let the local officials do their job, let them release statements, and then, the media is obviously going to see that and then do whatever they do. But that's what I trust the local officials.
Ed, with what has transpired, how does that dictate your response? Because you have a 30,000 foot view of all of this stuff, right? You see the way that it could have went, and you see that there's people that instigated the narrative that's out there now. And as a defamation attorney, how does this navigate your tactics?
Sure. And I want to be clear about something tonight. I'm not going to give any particular person any more oxygen than they may have already sucked up. But I will say this. What's been said about Morgan, Jax, and Warren, I'm not going to call them untruths or half-truths or falsehoods. I'm going to call it what it is, lies. So the first thing that's really important here is we're dealing with lies and liars. We're dealing with profiteers. We're dealing with hustlers. And one thing that I've seen since I got here is that Ocean Springs, Mississippi, is a really beautiful place. And the region is very beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful places in the country. And there is just no question. The death of Nolan Wells is a horrendous tragedy. But for the tragedy to then be magnified after his death for no reason other than profit is a disgrace, or what we would call a shanda. And I had the opportunity to go to Horn Island today with Tyler and Warren and Jax. And a lot of people who have been sucking up way more oxygen than they're entitled to have not been to the island. I'm willing to bet that a lot of the hustlers and profiteers and liars have not been to that island. And you have to go to that island. And being at the island today was revelatory. It was really illuminating. It's a very dynamic marine environment, first of all. But when you go to the island, you see instantly that what some people want to be true, what they wish to be true, they're trying to wish it to be true. They're trying to make it true through their lies. It's actually not possible. It is a very, very long and narrow barrier island. It's basically very low sand dunes. And in the particular part of the island that we're dealing with, there are no trees. There's hardly any foliage, hardly any tree cover, hardly any plants, and it's wide open. And on July 4th, there were thousands of people there. There is no possible way that anybody could have committed a murder in broad daylight on a barren, windswept island that is narrow and was just swamped with people that day in broad daylight. It's just not possible given the natural environment there. And that leads me to the next point, which is this. Once you know what the timeline is,
Are you representing Warren, sir? Because Warren said when they got back, they ran in and Nolan didn't ask for his phone. You know what that tells me? That Nolan went back to land with them, because neither one of y'all can run or walk or crawl or nothing on water. So if Warren said out of his own mouth when they got back, we ran in and Nolan didn't ask for his phone, coupled with the CETO call, allegedly, guess who got back to land? Guess who got back there? Allegedly. So I don't want to hear your bullshit, sir. Sue me, please, because I want to ask all those questions. I do. Let's depose each other. Sue me. I'm the one. Take me.
When you combine the timeline with the actual dynamics of the island itself, all of the lies completely unravel, because it isn't possible. And here's why. Morgan, Warren, and Jax left the island at about 4:30 p.m. That's it. They were gone. That is not open for debate. So that's a fact. They were gone. And at that time, Nolan Wells was still alive. Now, I'm not going to name them out of respect for their privacy, but just as one example, there are two very fine, upstanding members of the Ocean Springs community.
No. We do not want verbal witnesses. We do not want eyewitnesses' account. We want footage, and we want pictures with timestamps, because that is the only thing that will override the CETO call, sir. This is what you tell those witnesses. If you don't have footage and if you don't have photos, we simply don't believe you. Because we know how y'all can pay folk off. Allegedly, my opinion, freedom of speech. We know how you can pay folks off. We're seeing it now. We're seeing a couple of people, prominent people, paid off. Let's get back into it.
Saw Nolan Wells at about 10 minutes to 6 p.m. So about an hour and a half after these fine young men had left the island. They were gone, departed. Nolan Wells was alive. And these two witnesses, two very reliable, very credible, and very upstanding members of the community, they saw Nolan. And they've known Nolan for years. There's no chance that they made a mistake. And by the way, this can be corroborated through other evidence, other eyewitness accounts. And that's the end of it right there. That's before we get into everything else about the situation.
And when I look at this, I feel like there's levels of defamation and areas of defamation. And I'm not going to speak on your behalf because this is your story to tell, your story to litigate. But which areas are the most egregious that you are going to go after, or that you guys think also are areas where people have taken this situation and clearly lied to the public? One being the phone call. What is your thoughts on that phone call to CETO? Some people have gone out and done enhancements to the audio, and in doing that, created a transcript manually. It doesn't appear that the transcript was derived from an automated system or have any, in my opinion, real integrity with it. What are your thoughts, first, you guys, on the audio, and then I'll get to you, Ed, on could that be a defamatory area the way it was produced? So what do you guys think about that audio? What's going on, y'all? I hope that you enjoyed the interview. If you did, we have part 2. You do not want to miss it. And make sure, if you like our investigations, you like what we're doing in this case, like and subscribe.
We don't like it. We are here to just listen, okay? But we don't like it because we just don't believe it. But thank you so much. Hey, Brother Lear, thank you so much for being here. Everybody, welcome Brother Lanier on the panel with us. What do you have to say about this diabolical stage play that they got going on in America right now about the Nolan Wells case, sir.
Peace and blessings to your auntie and everyone in the chat.
Salute to you and peace and blessings to you as well.
I just want to say once again, former officer Coonbugger, he is more or less playing with fire right now.
Yeah.
And he's holding a torch in one hand and a whole lot of gas in the other hand.
Yeah.
With the young man is sitting second to his right, his left, is very dishonest because he can't look straight up at the camera. He was looking down the whole time he was being asked questions. That's a sign of being of deceit.
Okay.
Second of all, he's trying to discredit the phone call by saying technology is not what it's supposed to be. I believe I made a statement the other day. If anyone ever seen the movie called Blowout with John Travolta, he was an engineer and technician in audio, sound, and engineer for a movie company in the movie. He was a sound engineer.
Okay.
How he dissected sounds from a video where he caught a conversation of conspiracy to commit murder. So with that being said, we have come so far in technology, far as music. Music has been engineered so many different ways in studios where if a person sneezes in the background, you can the sound system is going to pick the recording is going to be recorded. They know how to take that out of the recording where you never know it was there. So with that being said, he's trying to discredit the young lady's ingenuity in her field. She is good in her field, like Officer Booger, Coon Booger was mediocre in his field as a police officer. I cannot tell a plastic surgeon how to do his job if I am a carpenter building houses.
I agree. You know? Were you watching the show from the beginning?
Yeah, I watched it.
Did you see the play that each video sent out today? You see, everyone had a role, even Nancy Grace.
Let me tell you. I look at it as like this. I said it from the beginning, and the young man even said it. Ocean Springs is going to stick up and back up their people.
Listen, he said that. He said it with boldness. He was like, Ocean Springs is going to back up Ocean Springs. We're going to stick together. I don't know what you thought. That's exactly what he said.
And that's rightfully respected because the neighborhood I live in, my neighbors, hold on for a second. I'm going to let the emergency vehicles go.
Okay. But you guys remember when Trish Station said that? We are, we may not all like each other, but Ocean Springs is going to have Ocean Springs back through whatever. We are a tight-knit community. We stick together.
And one thing I want to add, we have to think. My mom has lived in the same neighborhood for over 30 years. This is a tight-knit community. They're going to stick together. When it snows, and I know these elderly people can't get out and shove that snow, I'll get out there and shove the snow off their front steps. That's how you're supposed to be. But when it comes down to a situation like this, where I got 5 best friends, when we leave together, we come home together. Because let 5 of us leave together and come back home, don't come back, 4 of us come back and 1 don't come back. The first thing that parent's going to say, where's my baby at?
That's just our culture, right? That's just how we were raised.
Where you leave him at? He know good and well he left with y'all. He should have came home. He should have brought his behind home with y'all.
Would have got beaten, punished for 2 or 3 weeks if we had did it, wouldn't it?
Yep. And now what makes me even feel strongly about they knew what happened to him, because there's no way possible in the world you're gonna call Nolan's mom and say, "Have you heard from Nolan?" And Nolan, how is she gonna hear from Nolan if he doesn't have his phone?
I agree. He knew he had his phone.
Okay. Now, with that being said, why did you wait till 11 o'clock to call his mom?
Yeah.
You supposed to say, Miss Wells, look, Nolan is out there on that island. We told him to come on. I got his phone and I told him to come on, and he ain't want to come. He wanted to stay on that island. The first thing his mother would have done, oh no, he didn't. She'd be on the first thing smoking to come get you.
Right. I agree.
But
I agree.
Them young men, yeah, go ahead.
We wouldn't have left him nowhere though. Somebody would stay behind. Okay, bro, you staying, bro. We camping out then together.
And if y'all best friends, listen, I got 2 best friends in the world, and one of my best friends is deceased.
Right.
It's no way possible that I'm gonna say, "Come on, man, it's time to go, man." No, man, I'm gonna go ahead and stay in the park a little while longer. Look, man, come on. Well, if you ain't going, I ain't going. We both gonna get in trouble together.
Let me address this person right here who doesn't understand African American culture. We are telling you literally, repeatedly, that who we go with, we come back with. That is what y'all do. Y'all leave each other. We don't leave each other. It's what we're telling you. Because if we would leave anybody that we went with, it'd have been our ass. So do me a favor. Stay out of this conversation. Because you know nothing about our culture. Don't insert your culture into our culture. We are explaining to you that we don't do that. Simple, point blank, period.
Yep.
Let's welcome Brother Rogue to the stage. Thank you so much for being here, brother. Y'all have at it. The brothers got the platform. Auntie Leah gonna sit back and watch the brothers work.
What's going on, brother?
Y'all cook.
Oh man, y'all already at the 3-hour mark. Hold up, I ain't gonna do that.
I'm almost at the 5-hour mark.
I'm
mark.
I'm gonna hold to the principle. So yeah, my apologies. I just got off, you know what I'm saying, from the gig. So nah, I ain't
Go
I
ahead,
ain't
take
gonna
your
keep
time.
you.
I'm not even sleepy yet. Go ahead. I started early. I started at 5:50.
Okay, all right. I ain't want to keep you up here, but I ain't respect.
Brother.
So he brought them all together now, huh? Interesting.
Yep.
And the thing is, let's say that we don't know who did anything, right? Let's say that none of the evidence points to nobody doing nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that it pointed to Nolan drowning. Let's give it their ideal scenario. The way that they deliver their account makes them look guilty, even if he did drown, which he didn't. I'll never will believe that he drowned. Fuck out of here. But the way that they carry it out, it makes them look guilty AF.
I agree.
I mean, why Officer Tatum? He is not a qualifiable representative.
Or journalist.
No, they just chose him because he's black, and they don't understand that stands out right there. You could have talked to anybody. Y'all are pilgrims with loot.
Bro.
Y'all got the money. Y'all got the prestige. One of y'all mama is a judge.
They
Tatum?
chose him.
They chose him. So no, the thing is, they chose him because they know what the black factor, what the race factor means in this before anybody say something. That's why they chose him. So it's like they could have chose somebody else though. Why you had to choose him? Let's say that they were doing whatever they were doing. Okay, get you another black lawyer then. Why didn't you choose the lawyer who got that Chinese dude off?
Listen, I thought about him. The one that, yes,
He a black lawyer. Yeah, he got a white wife. He seems like he stands on his Negrotude more than anything, more than being a black man, So it's like, all right, then, don't hate the player, play the game. They got him out of all they got somebody that's anti-black, let alone, just get somebody who might upbraids black people or have a unforgiving, you know what I'm saying, or a non-empathetic but balanced view of black people. They got Tatum. Tatum is the fucking mascot for white incels who hate black people.
I mean, come on, man. You're not lying. Why didn't they go get that attorney? That attorney, yeah, why didn't he? He was too smart, probably. He probably wouldn't have did all the bending that allegedly Tatum is, bending. I'm not saying which way he's bending. I'm just saying he's bending. He could be bent to the right, bend to the left, forward, backward, on knees bending. Who knows? But just bending. He's doing some bending for money. Coins.
He bending and grabbing his ankles.
You know what, Lanier?
I'm trying to tell you because it goes back to what we said before.
But he's been doing that his whole time on YouTube, though. The thing is, that's been his shtick. He's not the one that's out of pocket. They're the one that's out of pocket if they're innocent. It's like they don't know how to be innocent.
I mean, this is true. This is something that John Lennon brought up. They're doing too much. They're making themselves look worse than what it is by going out and doing a PR campaign.
Yeah, just let the police handle it. What the fuck are y'all? And why did y'all get him of all people? That shows you that it's a not only a racial issue, but the black aspect of it, because you got someone whose primary delivery and conversation is unempathetic to black people. It's like y'all could have did this at a worse time. It's the 4th of July. You got 250 years that you're celebrating. You're in Mississippi. That's already a reputation right there. You're on the island that's already known for Klansman ritual. It's only like 3 black people there, but it's 1,000 of you pilgrims there, and nobody know nothing. And y'all are of the upper class of pilgrims. Are you shitting me? Y'all, nobody know nothing. What happened to all the high IQs and shit? Everybody there probably either got a degree or on their way to an easy, or got 2 businesses and shit. What happened? Nobody know nothing. All of these motherfuckers is oblivious.
Did you hear what Tristan said? Tristan said that they got back on the boat when they knew he was missing to go out there and try to find him.
That's what a friend's supposed to do. I mean, I'll accept that.
Yeah,
I'll accept that.
But doesn't the GPS show that they returned to that part of the island about that evening?
Yep, but they did it twice. They went out there twice. That's why I said it's 73 minutes missing that I didn't try to make up, because what keeps getting me is it just keep thumping in my head. Why are you gonna say that you left this man, but then Officer Coonbooger just said, the young man that was sitting on the end said that you are reliable, credible people that said they seen Nolan on the island. Who was the person Nolan's supposed to court a ride with besides Warren and them? We have to find that person to make a certified official that this person said, yeah, Nolan's supposed to court a ride with me. So if he's supposed to court a ride with you, how did he end up on the island by himself?
I agree. Now, Brother Roe, did you hear Nancy Grace introduce a different narrative tonight? Now, see, last week she was talking about what she heard on the CETO call, right? Basically, what we heard is he dead? Check his chest. Nolan, damn it, Bart. She quoted all that, right? She comes back today with a different narrative, talking about there's allegedly. It was a fight that Nolan was involved in on the island at 5:00 after the CETO call.
After the call, okay. After that, all right. So after all of that fright that his bestest of friends and bestest buddies and buddy old pals, after that fright that they experienced on that boat and frustration and all that. That's when the fight happened.
Right. Okay. So she's trying to basically she's trying to basically backtrack now.
She has to backtrack. I told y'all, this is where you look at it not for white as a color thing. Because I understand you pilgrims in the chat, you probably white trash. Y'all can only see your whiteness as the color.
We got some good ones now.
Okay, well, they need to act like it because like they're not understanding when whiteness as a power is flexing, and that flexes on everybody. That's not just a race thing. It's a power thing. The fact that she can't 180 because she sounded so practical. And she also put forth the disclaimer, you know, the white disclaimer that they got to put on to make sure they're not accusing nobody.
Yeah,
but
it's a deflection and distraction.
They got to do it though, because if they don't, then their own family start looking at them.
I had some people get mad at me when I called it out. You don't understand what she's saying. She's saying the same thing. She even threw Tupac in there. I'm like, man, don't do that. Because TVD, I'm gonna be honest. She gonna talk about. She said something about Tupac, and it pissed me off. I'm like, why are you throwing Pac up, knowing that
you black smile for me now?
Right. You know how we feel about Tupac, and we all know that Keefy D, even if he was in the car, wasn't the one that underlied Tupac. We know who it was. The police. I said what I said. It was an FBI. Why are you trying to tug on my heart with my man, my man Park? Don't play with me with Pop. But anyway, these people got mad at me. They got mad at me. I'm like, y'all don't see the play. She just literally introduced an alternative narrative talking about, well, we got to investigate that. Why? Because we heard the CETO call.
We heard the call. Everybody heard the call.
This is an attempt to take our mind off of it. Distract, deflect, gaslight.
Yeah, but the thing is it's weak. Let's say that they do it. They got all those attempts to do all that. They're still bringing that 1960 shit to it. So they haven't really upgraded any of it, and they still expect people to accept it, you know, based off of face value or something. And it's like, y'all know that's the widest thing that you could do. You know what I'm saying?
Let me address this brother right here. Let me address this brother right here.
Subscribe to the channel.
I understand what you're saying, but you gotta think deeper than surface level. I just literally showed you every play that they played today. I literally broke it down. It's called critical thinking, and I'm not saying that you're not doing that. We can't like accept but Nancy's all we got. If we're gonna play that game, okay, let's play that game. I can say, well, Al Sharpton and Ben Crump is all we got. And they've been silent since I haven't heard from them since the completion of the first autopsy. Yeah. I mean, we can settle for less because that's what we're doing. If we're going to settle for she's all we got, right? Mm. If people don't understand that there is a collective play going on, everybody has their part to play.
They have to acknowledge how objective it is with the system for them to do that, and that shatters their illusion.
And let me remind you,
nobody can have their American dream.
Right. And let me remind this good brother that even black people, our own people, were in the truck when they went and got Emmett Till out of his bed. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Yeah, they had to get somebody to know where he was at because the Pilgrims ain't know.
Exactly.
So, and we're not going to forget about what she did a couple of months ago when she interviewed Jeff Metcalf. What did she do to Carmelo? What did she do? Tore him to pieces.
Oh, really?
Made him a monster.
Well,
made him a monster.
They gotta make him a monster because he wasn't. This is what exactly. Everybody should pay attention to. That which they try to present as fearsome of themselves, that which they show that they fear of, and that which they give a fear to.
I agree.
And they gave a fear to him.
Yep.
They're doing this for their people because their people gotta believe bullshit. Remember, the Matrix is for them. It ain't for everybody else. We just get caught up in it. All the bullshit is for their own people.
It is. And it's select.
Yep.
Select, and it's for select black people. Elite. Sellouts, if you will. Let's look at Oprah. There's no way in hell that ever allowed Oprah Winfrey to be a billionaire as a black woman if she wasn't a gatekeeper. Now we can get deep.
Yeah, true that.
Can I speak on that right quick?
Speak on it.
I don't want to cut you off. Check this out. Now, I'm glad you said something about Oprah Winfrey. In my hometown, we gave Oprah Winfrey her first shot as a TV host, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was on a TV show here in my hometown called People Are Talking with the beloved Richard Sher, who gave my mother a Channel 13 Gold Salute pen in an interview.
Respect.
Appreciate it. Oprah Winfrey, she weaseled her way to the top through being a corporate flunky. Because she cut the throat of another famous black woman who's supposed to be on top of the world, which her name was Maria Broom, that was a newscaster here in my hometown. When Oprah came in, Oprah got her cut out of the news station and took over.
These is what the people that I'm talking about.
When she left and became a billionaire, she had to give up certain things in order to be in the position she's in. Now she's passing the torch on to who? Gayle King.
Yeah.
Because
but do Pleasantville accept Gayle as much as they accept Oprah? Are these pilgrims on her like that?
Listen, do you know all the property that Oprah owns, all the property she owns?
No, I do not.
Oprah got a $60 million house, $100 million. She got mad property. She does not
own.
own.
She got a house out there in Santa Barbara. When I went to college out there, and Obama went out there, and everybody went to her house. I had the opportunity to go, and I'm like, man, I ain't gonna go to Oprah Winfrey's house. Get the fuck out of here. All that shit said demon to me. You know what I'm saying?
She had houses in Hawaii. Remember the houses in Hawaii? All that property that burned down.
Yeah, her balloon was dead.
Okay, she owns property there, but she doesn't own the property. It's what you called a put your face on it, so the people above the higher.
Let me hold. I'm sorry because he's upset because I educated him on some things. Now it's a threat. If you're not going to Mississippi when we go, this is not.
Who's we?
Listen,
Who's we?
This is it's on the screen. My brother, this is not an attempt to start a war between my people or even the people that really support my people. When I say my people, I mean black people and every other race that recognize the pain and the hurt that we've been through and stand with us. What I'm trying to teach is that you got to. I'm sorry.
You can't call black people into that type of accountability because we don't have a cultural definition of what it means to be black. Okay. That shit is all over the place.
As we can see, he got mad because I called Nancy Grace out on the bullshit. 60 days ago, she just murdered Carmelo Anthony, who was defending himself 60 days ago.
Yeah.
She comes out, we give her another chance. Yay, Nancy Grace. Yay, Nancy Grace. And she comes in, not even with a full show, 30-minute segment, just to introduce some alleged fight.
Why?
After the sea call on the beach that has not been substantiated, sir. If you can't see the play, that's not my problem. But don't threaten me because I see the play.
But it goes back to what we said before about Carmelo. They didn't want to give him the credit as being a hero for saving 3 lives. Because any other person that didn't give a damn about nobody would have let them children drown in that water. That young man risked his life to go out there and save people. He wasn't out there causing havoc and disruption in society. This young man was a straight A student, an athlete, and a good all-around person. But at the end of the day,
they don't care about that when they're offended. It's no different from a white woman's tears, right? We didn't see that whole all that Karen shit when these bitches just break down, start crying. That's that same shit that got towns burnt down. That's that very same energy. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The thing is we don't understand what white means to them. We think it means color to them in the way that they'll say that it means color to them. But it don't. It means prestige. It means class. It means power. Before they became Americans. So y'all might not be ready to understand what type of whiteness it is that you're engaging. You're not engaging American whites. These motherfuckers are tapped back into that European sort of shit with it. And claiming this American shit, but when everybody else live up on their American shit, they got issues with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, wait a minute. Are we all Americans or not? Are we all beloved citizens of this country or not? Or are we subjects of yours? Yeah. They won't answer that question.
All right, let me say this real quick. Let me apologize to you if I read your message wrong. I've been down all day because I seen the play early this morning when I watched that Kumo crap. So if that's not what you meant, my sincere apologies for Auntie. I'm sorry, but I thought you was like mad because I called out Nancy Grace, who just ate up Carmelo 60 days ago, and we gave her another chance, and then she comes with this bullshit today. So I'm so sorry. And again, guys, Auntie Grace, shut up. Y'all go. Y'all got about 15 minutes, okay? Have at it.
You just got your passion going. It's all good.
I know, man. Ain't no
Yeah, but you know, she's torn the line.
Good old shit. We supposed to be mad by now.
Yeah, she's torn. See, we gotta remember when you have people like Nancy Grace, she is actually torn the line. She's trying to stay neutral, but on the same sense, we have to figure out. Look, what side are you going to come in when we find out the truth? Are you going to backtrack and say, well, in my estimation, I believe this 6 months ago or 3 months ago or 40 days ago that it was an accident, or I believe 40 days ago that it was foul play. You got to be either or. You got to be on this side of the fence, on the other side of the fence. There's no straddling the fence.
And she admitted today she's not on no side.
Well, no. She did. The thing is, she showed us. Look, when you have someone that recants with something that is pretty much in an objective, practical sense, that shows you right there what it is that they're encountering. Yeah. They already, most people, especially someone dealing with law. Come on.
I agree.
You know, like me, brother Rose.
She was talked to by them people, whoever them peoples is. But it's showing us that we pretty much are back in the motherfucking, make America great again. Okay, I see what y'all meant by that now. You know what I'm saying? Back to 1950s we go.
Yeah.
Okay. If that's the case, I was born in 1979, but I knew what I said I'd do in the third grade if we ever got back there. So if the signs are here, then you know what I mean? It is what it is.
Don't
we
say
can
it,
get
bro.
back there.
No, don't say it. Don't say it.
We can get back there.
I get it though. Just don't.
A whole field nigga up in this motherfucker? Really? we can go torch for torch, pickaxe for pickaxe.
Lord,
we can. You know what I mean? What the fuck? Look, I'm a field nigga. I'll be out there with my side. What's good? We doing it? Is it time? Is it on?
Listen.
Shit.
Listen. I'm so over it. You ain't gonna lie.
What we doing?
My thing is this. I understand when they was talking about, it was a fight, this, that, and the third. Okay, if it was a fight, okay. Who actually? Now I done been in plenty of fights and stayed in the area where I had to fight at and the fight over with. But I never turned my back. I always keep the person I was fighting with in my sights, or the people he with in my sights, because you never know what they'll do to you if they try to sneak you. Now, if so-called Tristan was fighting with somebody, his uncle told him to get on that boat. He got on the boat and then got back off the boat. Who was the aggressor? Was it Nolan or whoever he was fighting, or was it Tristan?
It was 1,000 pilgrims out there.
Thank you. So you telling me did nobody see the fight?
Look, hold up. Come on now. I mean, I don't even, rock with it like that, but just for the principle of this. We know a particular colored ethic in which to subconsciously operate. When you see 1,000 pilgrims, come on, homie. There's no way that he was the aggressor. No black person would make themselves that friendly amongst them motherfuckers. 1,000? Get the fuck out of here. Black people weren't even peppered in there. You could probably count on 4 fingers with 1 P, motherfucker.
and you know what else gets me? And I don't get it. What did 4th of July, Christmas, Thanksgiving, that's all family, friends, and if guys, their girlfriends, and the girlfriends bring their boyfriends, why didn't them guys have any other girls on the boat with them when they went?
Maybe they went to flip Katie and her friend. You know what I'm saying?
But it was some girls on the boat. We seen them on a Seato call, a video that Tatum released.
Okay, so it's 5 of them and 2 girls, right? Okay.
So they say.
Okay, so where was Warren's girlfriend? Where was Wyatt's girlfriend? Where was Bart's girlfriend, if he had one? Why didn't he bring somebody with him? Because if we remember what he was said, they were parked on the northwest tip on the northwest tip of the island. So that means to tell me, was any other boats on the opposite side of y'all, on both sides of y'all, where Nolan would have been between the tip and the middle part or the quarter part of the island? It make sense for nobody to have seen him on that. Why would you, if all the boats was leaving, how was he supposed to get back?
Exactly. That is the question at hand. And
that is because there was a lot of people out there. There was a lot of people out there, and they're a tight-knit community, remember?
That stick by each other.
But certain boats can hold only a certain amount of people.
Okay, but if they're a tight-knit community and he ain't no stranger, somebody gonna have his back. You know what I'm saying? You remember part of the non-official report that other sleuthers were doing, found out that these were the type of people that take other people's children on vacation with them and shit. You know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying? They were that tight-knit. So I think it was some, you know what I'm saying, definitely some weird shit going on or whatever. The fact that it has the history that they got over there, we're always going to Horn Island. Okay, what's the history of Horn Island? Okay, it's got a Mississippian traditional history to it. Yeah. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? The thing is, they're being exposed and they're trying not to be exposed. And they don't understand that all it points to is how much of a power dynamic your particular whiteness is in this, situation or circumstance. They don't even understand that.
My thing is, if they don't want to be exposed, they need to cough them boys up this time. That's that. You don't want to get exposed. You want to keep your cover. Cough them up. You got to cough them up this time because you're already exposed.
What didn't Warren? Let me ask you something. Do anybody remember what Warren said about how deep the water was? It had come up to your waist, and then it had a drop off.
Yeah,
we saw that water in them pictures.
Why would you park so close to the western tip if you knew that was dangerous? Because you said you knew about that before and the currents and the riptides. Why would you park that close to the edge like that if you knew it was dangerous over there? Why? Because if y'all was fighting before and then the fight was over, and then y'all got on that boat and got to fighting again, and he accidentally hit his head and knocked himself out, or you killed him, you panic. Okay, man. Oh man, we in trouble. Man, we in trouble. Our boat's sinking. Man, throw him over the side, bro. We ain't going to jail.
Right.
You throw him overboard. Then you say he stayed on. See, it's too many discrepancies in the whole scenario because it's just like a fraternity and a sorority. They do things to become part of a fraternity, brother, that they keep for years and years and years and years and don't never tell.
Yeah.
They are a tight-knit community who has each other's back.
Yep.
Them parents probably went to school together, went to college together, then did so much dirt together that it's their own little secret in their community. Because Mississippi is 60% pilgrims and 80%, 40% of chocolate chips. And 1% and 1% of mixed vegetables.
True. This is true, guys.
Because I've been to Alabama, I done been to Mississippi, I done been to I done been down there doing security for the football team, and I heard from certain players on the Alabama football team that's my color said that, hey, I said, man, how you feel? You know, because I love Alabama football. I said, how you like playing for Alabama? He said, man, it's a very traditional team. I said, people treat y'all good down here. He said, yeah, they treat us good as long as you playing football for this team and doing well, they love you. But as soon as you don't do well, they hate you. I said, what you mean? They hate you as a team? He said, no, they hate you as a color because they figure you on the best program in the country, that you're supposed to know your position and play and do your job at the best of your ability and win.
Perform, boy. You're supposed to be one of our top performers, boy. I'm gonna let you up in here.
Yep, and when I went to Tuscaloosa, Alabama, and Auburn, Alabama, and then I also did Mississippi State, Mississippi State. Don't you know? I was told, listen, if you're going to stay down, because we could either come back with the security team, because we came out of Atlanta. I wanted to stay over and just enjoy the venue or whatever, they'd tell me, don't go in this certain part of town at night.
Of course.
I said, why? He said, why? He said, because, bro, if you know like I know, it's like a sundown town. Get up out of here. I said, nope, I'm going back to the A. I'm going back to the A. But that's sad that we have to live in a society like that where people don't have morals and humanity.
No. They're not obligated for that. No, they're not obligated for that. And no one is obligated for that. That is a human versal agreement that we all made, that was made in the past. But if people have evolved out of that or devolved away from that, that better qualitative stability, then the savage we go. You know what I'm talking about? Welcome back to the law of the fang and the claw. If that's where we're going with it, you know what I'm saying? I have a problem with that. I'd rather it be civil and we can, be this hyper sophisticated quantum society that we've made ourselves into being. But if these motherfuckers are this greedy to this degree, then that has to be quelled. And the law ain't finna do it, the government ain't finna do it. But these motherfuckers don't own reality, do they? You can own your country or whatever. You can own your country, own your state, own your property. You can own all that. You don't own my fucking essence. And that's what they trying to own. That's what they trying to run.
Well, I wish I could find that video. They took it down. I think they even took the guy's channel down off of Instagram and off of YouTube. He said that if somebody that he knows that know exactly what happened, and it's a black man talking about a white man that was on his boat, minding his business out there, close. He was close to Horn Island, but he wasn't by Horn. He was out there just enjoying his little time on his boat. And he said he knew exactly what happened. And I had thought I uploaded the video to myself, but it didn't come through. I wish I could find it, and I want to send it to somebody so they can break it down. Because if he knows exactly what happened, all I know, he said it was two brown boats out there in that water that seen what happened. Two brown boats, and they took it down.
The main issue is that the value that is preferred of a black existence will never be that paralleled by the system or that paralleled by the tribe of these people. It won't be. And that's what's essential within this society. And they won't do it. They won't do it with empathy. They won't do it with legislation. They won't do it with religion. I don't know what other avenues they have, you know what I mean? But the thing is, if they believe that they are in ownership of reality, I can understand control of the city, control of whatever. You're not in ownership of reality. And that's what this case is exposing that. They trying to tell us in the age of where everything is recorded, observed, this is a straight Orwellian reality for real, that we didn't see what we see. We didn't hear what we hear. And just accept what we tell you, which is going to be very loose and non-transparent. I mean, they even turned Nancy Grace. Look, Nancy Grace, I didn't think that she was just on the side of Nolan when she said her earlier her earlier view of what it is that she heard. I figured, yeah, it's the practicality of it is hitting her, just like everybody else. But then for her to recant, you can't recant once that objective practicality that's hit millions others hits you. You can't say, well, nah, this happened and this is why. No, wait a minute. Okay, so they fought after the call?
Right.
Okay, my question then is, why did the call contain so much fright and fervor and friction and chaos? They sounded like they were, some of them sound like they were frightful. So, and then, and after that, Nolan had whatever gumption and nuts that he had to have to, put up, to do some squab with somebody. It's like, that don't make sense. It don't fucking make sense. And it's like you fucking with me, right? And all, you know what I mean? It's like, or get a better lie or something. You know what I'm saying? She shouldn't have said shit. She shouldn't have said nothing if she was going to recant something. But it's like y'all. But this is something that Black people been having to, receive from these motherfuckers all day, forever and a day. I don't know about y'all. I'm tired of it though, for real.
I am too.
Yeah, I'm definitely exhausted.
I know you guys don't want to hear this, but it's 9:31 and I've been on this thing since 5:50. I gotta go.
I know that's right. Can I give you something? Can I give you something real quick before we leave? Okay. Remember when I told y'all about the lungs and the throat, right? Now, this is something you may hear about. By him keeping his lungs and his throat, is now if they try to insert any type of fluid in his lungs, is a certain way you can figure out if water was in the lungs before or after. But in Nolan Wells, when the autopsy would come out, I want y'all to remember this: behind the ears, there should have been blood behind the eardrum where the vessels broke if he drowned. Because anybody know about a person that dives underwater, like real deep, they got to come up and be decompression in a depression chamber, right? Yeah. Please remember I said this. If there is any blood that they said was behind his ears drums, that means he drowned.
Okay.
Because the vessels will break.
All right, I'm gonna write that down. What about you, Rogus?
Appreciate the sharpening. I holler at y'all on the flip. Be well and authentic. Holla.
Y'all meet me here tomorrow, okay? Y'all meet me here tomorrow. We back at it. We cannot let it die down, guys. I love y'all.
Be good. Be safe. God bless.
Thank you so much. God bless you too.
No love.
Please drop True Gang in the comments on your way out. Like the live on your way out. Meet us here tomorrow. Same time, same stuff. And don't forget the hearing.
Standing 10 toes on the truth. On truth. No cap, no spin, no disguise. No. You see. through every lie. We do pressure on them every time. Crush truth game, never fall in line. No, I don't move out rumors, I verify first. If the story's shaky, I dissect every word. Cross-check facts, I don't play with assumptions. If it don't make sense,
you for all the
I'm
gifts.
pressing
Thank you
the
for the
button.
super chat that I
Independent
received
mind,
today.
I don't follow the crowd.
I appreciate y'all.
The
I
truth
love
get
y'all.
dirty. I'm digging it out. They be talking loud, but they stand on nothing. I'm building a case while they building discussions. No bias in my lens, I don't lean left or right. If it's wrong, I'ma call it on sight. Every claim get tested, every angle review. We don't chase opinions, we align with the proof. Oh, what's no beyond up.
Shout out to all my moderators in the building.
We won't prove.
Archangel Michael.
Standing 10 toes
Tasha.
on the truth.
God, thanks for being here. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Through every lie. Pressure on them every time.
Hey.
Truth game, never fall in line. No shortcuts taken, we follow the trail. Even if it led somewhere, people won't tell. I don't care who involved, I don't care who it hit. Truth don't pick sides, it expose what it is. Every detail matter, I'm zooming it in from the start to the end, where the gaps where it been. If the timeline off, then the story collapse, and I'm bringing it up, I ain't letting it pass. We don't fold under pressure, we apply it instead. They be hoping we stop, we apply it again. 10 toes planted, we ain't moving for nothing. Truth gang solid, yeah, we stand on something. It don't matter where we go. It don't matter what it shows. We know truth ain't easy, but it's necessary. Yeah. Truth over everything that's wrong. That's all. If it don't add up, we don't rock.
Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for coming. Please like, share, and subscribe. Come back again.